Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with Dustin Fox and Earl the Pearl. I'm Adam the Bull, and we got a lot to get to today. Anthony working from home. We got Steve and Mike behind the glass. Before we chit-chat a bit and get to all the big topics of the day, just one day before the draft, Mike, tell us who our title sponsor is today.
Our title sponsor today is Living for We. Living for We is an award-winning show from IdeaStream's public media, part of the Connecting the Dots Between Race and Health initiative. New episodes drop every other Tuesday, including a new episode yesterday. Listen to Living for We wherever you get your podcasts.
Thank you, Mike. Guys, what's going on? Earl, how are you?
I'm great. Did a show this morning.
Yeah.
Did an Ultimate 216 show. Make sure y'all check that out if y'all didn't this morning. We did some final mock draft, mayhem, face-off type stuff, and did a parlay this morning for the Cavs.
All right, we'll talk about that later because I got one today, too. Dustin,
Jacket.
you got the sharp-looking jacket there. Yeah. Everybody's excited about that.
With this thing. I just got this the last game I was at.
Dustin, you need your mic.
Oh, come on now.
And I was so prepared.
What happened? You just got that jacket.
Dustin came in early this morning. He was sitting down,
Yeah, I know.
ready.
What happened?
And we
What
forgot
happened?
the
The
mic.
jacket is fire, though. Really like that. Really like that.
Yeah.
Price, too.
Yeah.
It was like $150. Not a bad price.
Not bad.
Not a bad
No,
price.
I mean, merchant. It's expensive.
At the game.
Yeah, I was at the Guardians game Monday. My wife got a Guardians cap and a sweatshirt. It was over $100. I mean, just everything's expensive. So $150 in the grand scheme of. Did you get the hat just now too, or is that?
No, the hat I've had for a couple of years.
Yeah, the powder
which is
blue
nice.
grew on me. I didn't like it at first.
So I can wear like the Carolina Jays with it too. So like I think it's honestly now that LeBron's gone.
Yeah.
Like what? Let's get back to this color.
I 100,000,000,000% agree, Dustin.
You know what I mean?
Old school black and light blue like your hat.
Yeah.
The light blue and white is cool. I like the city alternates this year. The black and light blue with even the logo on the side of your hat. I know I wasn't around in Cleveland when that was a thing.
It was the gun years, early on.
That is the best logo and color scheme they have.
It is good. I didn't like it when they first brought it back, but I've kind of grown on me.
That was my childhood with Terrell Brandon, Bobby Fields, Chris Mills, Tyrone Hill, and all them. Bob Sura.
Sean Kemp for a minute.
Yeah, that was that era of Cavs basketball. Mike Fratello was the head coach.
We didn't win many games, but in the arena, all the seats were this color.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just like that color. They weren't very good. But also, this was the color scheme when the Cavs had the All-Star game here, remember?
Yeah.
Back in 96 or 97, I think.
Kobe won the slam dunk contest.
Yeah, he did.
Did Sean Kemp have more wins or children while in Cleveland?
Children.
Doesn't he have like 20 kids?
Maybe.
Thought it was like 22.
Is it 22? Are you serious?
I'm joking.
Oh, my God. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention about my trip to the Guardians game Monday, you know how they replaced a lot of the seats?
Yeah.
And the seat I had was a new seat. It was great. They are more fat-friendly, which I like. You know, with the Guardians, because they don't get big crowds, I think they made the seats a little wider and there's less seats. You know, so now when there's a good crowd, it looks better because there's not as many seats. And it was way more comfortable. It was the most comfortable I've been in an arena/stadium seat in a long time. It was very comfortable. So
Are we taking
kudos to the
a
Guardians.
UCSS team trip to the Guardians game again?
We
this
should.
year?
I mean, the weather, we're now pretty much at the good weather time. We're kind of done with there'll probably be 1 or 2 more days.
I should take our team to a Ducks game in the suite. We could do that. Rubber Ducks.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yes.
So we have the suite.
Yeah, that's a fun place. I haven't been to Columbus's stadium.
I haven't either.
Oh, you
It's
haven't
very
been?
nice. The Columbus AAA Stadium, that's
Yeah.
where Tyvis plays the Cardell Jones softball tournament. So I've only been there for that, but
Yeah.
really, really nice facilities, good
Yeah.
concessions, and feels like a real nice place to watch a ball game.
And
right downtown.
And Akron's a good place to go right now because Travis
yeah.
Bazzana's playing there, so you get to see him. Speaking of which, there's another draft pick from the first round last year is getting called up to the majors. So Nick Kurtz of the A's.
Yeah, we talked about him. Is there another one?
No, he's the one I was talking about. I forgot we had talked about it anyway.
Oh yeah, we talked about him yesterday.
That's right. I forgot about that. But Anyway, let's keep it moving here. We got a lot to get to today. The Guardians turned to not Emmanuel Clase, but Cade Smith in the ninth. The Cavs will play Game 2 against the Heat tonight in downtown Cleveland, of course. And we are now just, how many hours? 33 hours till the NFL draft begins. We've been talking about it nonstop. I think we're all ready at this point to move forward to talking about what they did instead of what they might do.
Yeah.
Might get us going.
Yeah, before we dive into all of that, this weekend, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, the Greeny Sports Cards Convention is sponsoring the Great Lakes Collectors Convention over at the Independence Fieldhouse. We've been out there the last couple of years because of the draft, the Cavs playoff schedule. We don't have like a table set up this year, but you should still go check it out. We're going to give away tickets on tomorrow's show, on tomorrow night's live draft show at 8 p.m. On Friday's show, we're going to give out a pair of tickets today. Earl's going to post something on our community tab later this afternoon. So if you want to go, we're giving away 8 free tickets, 4 pairs of 2 over the next 3 days. So make sure you guys stick around to find out how you can win those tickets to the Great Lakes Collectors Convention presented by Greeny Sports Cards over at Independence Fieldhouse this weekend. It's a good time. Go check it out if you got some time. And with that, let's dive into our first topic of the day after a quick word from FanDuel. The NBA playoffs, they're here, guys. Game 2 tonight between the Cavs and the Heat, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you get $250 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Don't miss out. Head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. We also have a winning FanDuel ticket. Our guy Darren Smith hit another gigantic parlay.
Oh, my God.
That's literally the parlay he hit on your screen. It's that many legs. He hit them all. He adjusted the lines. Some alternate over-unders.
So many
hit them all.
heavy favorites.
That's why it doesn't pay. I mean, you still made a good percentage of your money.
Because it's alternate lines.
Yeah, a lot of those are like minus 700, minus 500, whatever.
Yeah, right.
That's why there's so many of them. But like, man, that's a great win for $5.
Great win from Darren. Turned $5 into $367.85. If you have winning tickets, make sure you send them in to us so we can feature them on the show as well. We've had a lot of Darren tickets of late. I know some other people out there winning their FanDuel tickets, so make sure you guys send them in so we can give you some love too.
All right.
Speaking of getting some love, guys, it is finally Game 2. Cavs Heat tip-off tonight, 7:30 on NBA TV. Ty Jerome was the star in Game 1 for the Cavs. Dustin, Earl, G. Dustin, we'll start with you.
Did you say G?
Did I say G?
I think you said Dustin Earl G.
It's
I
okay.
guess G and I look
it's
alike.
probably something just he says all the time.
Yeah,
G is always here.
But I'm here as much as anybody.
Dustin, Earl, I do want to start with Dustin.
Yeah.
Ty Jerome was the breakout star in Game 1 for Cleveland. Who do you anticipate being the breakout star or the biggest performer? It doesn't have to be a breakout star, but biggest performer for the Cavs tonight in
like
Game
a
2?
nondescript player?
No,
like
it could be anybody. If you think Donovan's going to go for 50, he's the right answer. Or he's a valid answer.
A guy who might go for a lot more than their average scoring. In other words.
Can it be a bold prediction?
Sure.
All right. Mobley has 30 tonight.
30. I'm expecting a good game for Mobley because he had a pretty poor game.
It's bold.
Very bold to say he hit 30.
How many times has he had 30 this year? Like 6?
I'll tell you in 1 sec.
Yeah, but especially coming off the first game where he was kind of a non-factor. He wasn't a big factor in the game.
Well, we'd like to have him be a big factor tonight.
I mean, that would be huge if he had 30. If he has 30 points tonight, the Cavs should win pretty handily, which I think we're all expecting.
Evan Mobley had 30 points 4 times this season.
That was close.
Yeah. So
that'll be in my FanDuel parlay.
Yeah, there you go. Listen, that is a bold prediction. All right, so who you got as your guy?
I'm gonna go DeAndre Hunter.
Oh, you're stealing my guy.
I'm gonna go DeAndre Hunter with 20. I'm gonna go from 0 to 20 for DeAndre Hunter tonight.
Yeah.
That'll be my bold prediction.
Every time I take Hunter's over props, it just doesn't happen. Or he'll have 12 in the first half and his props 16 and a half or something, 15 and a half. And no, never hits.
You know what? I was going to say DeAndre Hunter, but I want to keep it fresh. And so I'm going to say it's another big game for Ty Jerome. I feel like even though he had a huge game, if you're Miami, you're still more focused on Darius and Donovan and the other guys. No matter how, that's the thing. That's why this is a great situation for, Ty Jerome's great for the Cavs, and the Cavs are great for Ty Jerome because you can't focus your defense on him, even if he has a great game like that, because the Cavs have so many other players who are, more accomplished than Ty Jerome, that he's always going to be, he's never going to be a priority for the defense, and he's just so consistent. Mike did a good job. I forgot to tell him this. He did a nice job in his interview with Ty Jerome. Was that earlier this week or last week?
On the accelerated floater? That was
right.
Beautiful.
It was really interesting. I know you really dove into the floater, and I was, for whatever reason, in this first game, I was paying particular attention to his floater.
He made 4 of them.
It's really, I understand why analytically it's looked at as a terrible shot, because it feels like a shot you have no control over. But he is perfect. In a way, it's almost like he's like a knuckleball pitcher, which is, it's a rarity. Right now, there's no knuckleball pitchers in Major League Baseball. But when you see a knuckleball pitcher just be great, and you're like, how is he doing this? What is going on here? And in a way, that's Ty Jerome. Not that he doesn't do anything well.
It's a skill. It's a finesse skill that he's developed. And, there's been some all-time greats that have been able to do it the way that he does. That touch, man, it's just...
But it's not common in today's NBA.
It's not.
For a guy to have that at such an elite level.
And it works every time.
It does. Every time he shoots that, I assume it's going to go in.
He's not going to miss it.
It's unbelievable.
He shot 59.4% on floaters this season. He talked about
crazy.
In the interview, he talked about, if you take 10 threes,
right,
you want to be at 1.2 points per possession, you got to make 4 threes. If you're going to take floaters, you got to make 6 of them.
Yeah.
He hit 59.4, 59.7, I forget the exact percentage. And that's right in the 1.2 points per possession, being a 40.3 3-point shooter and being a 60% shooter on floaters.
Right.
Is it basically the same when it looks at the analytics? And if you're going to take as many floaters as he does, you got to make him, and he does.
Yeah,
he did again against Miami.
If he was hitting 43% of his floaters, that's a bad shot.
Yeah.
But you're hitting 60% of them. Well, and it's funny. I don't know about you guys. I feel like 60, which is a ridiculously high number on floaters. To me, I would have guessed even higher because I feel like he never misses.
In real time, when you're watching him play, it looks like he's not missing at all. And the fact that he's so consistent and efficient in hitting that floater, like a part of that interview with Mike, he talked about being a 3-level scorer.
Yeah, right.
When you think about 3-level scorers, Ty Jerome is not the first name that comes to your mind, but just how efficient he is with his float game, how efficient he is from 3-point range, it makes sense. And the Cavs have another weapon that they can always deploy. To your point, people are going to always be focused more on Darius and Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
I think Eric Spoelstra is smart enough to really game plan a little bit more for Ty Jerome, but I'm not sure if it'd really be enough. I think the Cavaliers have too much. I think the chemistry and how well he plays off both those other guards, I just think even if they game plan for him, he's going to have another big game.
Yeah, and even if he's not, shooting well, which hasn't been the case very often, well, then he'll move the ball. Yeah. And that's the good thing about
the ceiling on this guy. Like, is he going to be a great player in the NBA?
I mean, it sounds crazy to say that even now, but I don't know. I can't. It's hard to bet against him the way he's played.
It hasn't been like 25 games. It's been a whole
it's been an entire season. Yeah. He never really had. Did he have a slump at all this year? I don't know if he played enough consistent minutes to even notice a slump, but. It felt like he never, not that he didn't have a bad game or a few bad games here and there, as everybody does. But.
I mean, this guy's going to make a ton of money in the NBA.
It's interesting, though. I feel like, I know when we talked about this yesterday, because we were talking about he's the most, hyped sixth man, and we talked about Delly, and I said, it's not even close. Ty Jerome's a better player than Delly.
Yes.
But Delly, in terms of the love and the popularity Ty Jerome hasn't reached that yet, and he can't unless they win a championship.
Right.
Because with Delly in the playoffs, everybody was the songs, it was crazy. But remember, Delly went to Milwaukee, and then his career just fell apart.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's going to happen.
He's playing in Australia right now.
I'm not saying that's going to happen with Ty Jerome, but I do think he's better off not being the guy.
Oh, 100%.
Right? If he goes to another team where he's the man on some mediocre or bad team, I think he'll be certainly better than Delly. He won't completely crash out, and he'll be fine. But I don't think he's going to be as good a player if the focus is on him.
Is he like an all-star on the Blazers?
I don't think so.
Like any random team?
I doubt it. But I
think he's a very, very solid role player. It's funny because you ask what's the ceiling on him. Yeah. I don't either. But if you look at his careers, right, just his collegiate career at Virginia, You know, you won a championship there. So that championship experience and everything he's learned along the way. He was drafted by Oklahoma City. I remember the game when he played for Golden State. They came here to Cleveland, and Steph Curry didn't play. He got the start, and he dropped 22 points. And that was the first time that I can remember seeing him play in the NBA outside of college. And nothing really – I don't have a basketball third eye, but it was just like, damn, this dude can ball. Like, he cooking the Cavs. Who the hell is Ty Jerome?
Right.
Oh, snap, that's the dude from Virginia. And so from there, you just watched him, and it seemed like his game has just gradually grown with each opportunity. You know, Chris Fedor wrote an article, and he talked about, you know, Ty Diaz talked about being in a dark space when he suffered that injury and pretty much missed the whole season. And so I just think, like, you know, working on your game and just that internal motivation to be great, seeing everything that you went through before is why we're seeing the season that we're seeing from him. I think he's going to make a lot of money, whether it's here or elsewhere, I don't know, but I would love to see the Cleveland Cavaliers sign him and keep him here long term. Yeah. He likes Cleveland.
Right.
He got good chemistry with the guys here. What Kenny Atkinson does as far as the system, it just meshes well with his game. So it's like a perfect marriage.
It's going to be the you know, a fascinating story this offseason is will Ty Jerome take less money to stay? Because there will be teams that can pay him significantly more. He has earned that with this season. It's easy for me to say, as someone doesn't have the ability to play basketball and make millions and millions of dollars.
He's not staying here for less money.
Right. I'm saying if I were him, I'd rather stay here for $14 million than go to $20 million somewhere else. I understand if he doesn't do it, and if I were him, I might not do it either. I think for his career, he's probably better off staying here for less money.
You're talking about like per year, $14 million.
Yeah, I mean, like how much? Mike, what's the most the Cavs can pay him? Do we know yet?
They have the early bird rights, so they can go a little over the tax and the aprons and all that to finagle. I think they can offer somewhere around like 13, 14 million. And a team there's not a lot of teams with cap space this summer.
Yeah.
The Nets are one of the teams that have cap space. He's from New York.
Right.
I think that's a potential landing spot, and they have money to spend in positions for it to play.
Okay, so how much are they paying him? $20 million?
I'd be surprised if it got that high, to be honest with you.
Okay, 17?
Yeah, I think 15 to 17.
Well, either
15
way,
to 18
it's 4 or 5 year deal. It's going to be talking about $15 million difference.
But in the again, it's not my money. I acknowledge that. If he signs for 13, how many years can the Cavs pay him for? Is there a limit on that?
This is not a guy that's made hundreds of millions.
I get it.
I know we have this conversation all the time. I feel like we're beating a dead horse because we both we kind of agree, but like if this were $1 or $2 million, I could see him like a Jose Ramirez, and he
gave up more than that.
But he's also made a ton of money too.
Yes, he has.
But like this is his first chance at real
and maybe
money.
his only chance.
And maybe his only chance.
Yeah, I hear you. Again, I would not blame him if he left. But
I mean, it's his chance to be Jeremy Lin, to some degree, and get that. Jeremy Lin made a ton of money.
He did
off of 4 weeks.
Outside of the Ty Jerome saga, because let's worry about his future
when
the playoff
You're right.
Done.
Fair enough.
There are a couple of things, at least, and I think Dustin started to touch on this earlier. I'm actually looking forward tonight with the Cavs. I thought in Game 1, there were multiple occasions early in the game. Later in the game, when Donovan and Darius and Ty got going, you don't try to feed the bigs. You let the guards cook when those three are shooting as efficiently as they were. But early in the game, Miami switched a ton of those pick and rolls. And I thought there were opportunities with Jared and Evan down low to get them the ball and let them work on small defenders in the post. And Cleveland, for one reason or another, I'm not saying it's even a critique, just something I noticed, they went away from that. And we talked about the lackluster numbers between those two combined. Together they had 21 points, 18 rebounds. Not saying they played terrible by any means, but you expect more from those two when Allen and Mobley by themselves are each averaging 14 and 18 points respectively.
But what did I thought Jared played a good game. Allen played fine. I think it was all Mobley. Again, that's one game. Didn't Allen have a double-double? No,
he only had. I'll tell you one second. I pulled the box.
I thought Jared played fine.
He had like 14 boards.
I was really expecting more from Evan Mobley. There's no world when Evan Mobley can go into halftime and have 0 rebounds.
Yeah, that's it.
And then finish
Allen
the game
did have 12 and 11.
With 9 points and 7 rebounds. We have talked ad nauseum about the Cleveland Cavaliers reaching their overall goal and how Evan Mobley had to show up and be that dude. And I thought that was a perfect opportunity to set the overall playoff tone, to come out here and have a great game and let people know, okay, we don't have to ask those questions no more about Evan Mobley come playoff time. luckily for him, that's one game. You get game 2 tonight, and you get the opportunity to go out there and really make some noise. I'm going to trail Dustin on that. I'm going to take Evan for 30. If he gets there or not, I don't know. But Evan, it feels like he has to have a big game.
Because what's like his total typically? Around 18.5, 19.5, something like that. Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to go 30, but I may go like 20.
I think it's even lower than that.
Probably like 25, 26. You probably get like plus
15 and a half.
300.
Yeah.
I think he's 15 and a half.
We got to verify this, folks.
Mobley tonight?
What's Evan Mobley's prop? What is his line for scoring? Is it 15 and a half?
I'll tell you if you give me 1 sec to let the FanDuel Sportsbook app load.
Because I think it was 15 and a half game 1, if I remember. Maybe even 14 and
His
a half.
props for points tonight, ladies and gentlemen, are set at 16 and a half.
Oh, 16 and a half. Okay. So, listen, the Cavs, we know, can get away with not playing. The Cavs didn't play an A game in game 1 against Miami.
15 and a half, sorry.
15 and a half, okay. The Cavs did not play their A game at all.
No.
Clearly, in game 1. I mean, Ty Jerome played his A game.
Darius played pretty damn good.
But Darius, the bar is higher, and same with Donovan. I'd say Darius and Donovan played like A- or B+.
They played well. Not incredible. They played well.
But nobody.
Plus 2,500 for him to have 30 tonight.
Let's do it.
Let's
Plus
go.
2,500.
Plus 2,500.
Put 100
That's
to win
ballsy.
2,500.
But as the series go on, they're going to need more and more from Mobley. Once they play the better teams, Indiana, I mean, certainly better than Miami, and then eventually we assume Boston. Although this Jason Tatum situation is interesting.
With the wrist?
He's not going to play game 2, right?
No, they said if it was game 7 he could play, but because
okay,
it's
so
game 2,
that would obviously
be
huge for them. And they'd still probably win that series even without him, I would assume. But I don't know. I guess who knows. But in terms of Mobley, like as the series go by, Mobley can't be a bystander in these games. He can be against the Heat. You don't want to see it.
Right.
Hopefully he gets back to being the player he's been most of this year. And as Mike said, some of that, in game 1 was the guards were killing it so much you just let him go. Same thing with Hunter. It's why he barely shot the ball and whatever. But they're going to need Mobley. They're going to have to, to beat Boston, assuming both teams are healthy. To beat Boston, all their best players, their 3 best offensive players, Mobley, Garland, Mitchell, all got to play consistently great if they're going to beat Boston. Because Boston's the best team, Boston, Oklahoma City are the best teams they're going to play.
Yeah, it'll be interesting tonight. I think I'm looking forward to seeing Evan Mobley have that big game, and then DeAndre Hunter as well. He played 16 minutes in game 1, Mike?
Yeah.
Only had 4 shot attempts, didn't score at all.
Right.
And we know what he's capable of, not really worried about him, but I think he
there you
comes
go.
out tonight. And you got, so what? We doing Evan for 30. We got DeAndre for 20.
His line is 8.5.
Yeah.
I'm definitely taking it over.
Huh?
Yeah.
Hunter's line's 8.5.
8.5.
I like that a lot.
I know that's on my same game parlay today. One other big storyline, I think, maybe Big's a little strong, but one other thing I got my eye on tonight, guys, I'm curious your takes, is we know that Ty Jerome and DeAndre Hunter, obviously with the 5 starters, including Strus, those 7 guys, we know they're playing a ton of minutes, blah, blah, blah. The question is, how much will they use guys 8 and 9, and not really beyond that. But that's not true, because obviously you have Sam Merrill, who played well, right?
He played awesome. I think Weld is actually.
That's true. You're right. He played an A game for him.
An A game.
He shot well. He played. I thought it was the best I've ever seen him play defense. I mean, he was
really, really
deli-ish out there. And then Isaac Okoro and Dean Wade. Now those two were terrible, especially Okoro, because he played a lot more minutes than Dean Wade. You don't really need to go more than 8 deep in the playoffs, especially once you get further in. It feels like Sam Merrill is kind of maybe grabbing hold of that 8th spot. So I don't know, guys. I am pretty much done with Isaac Okoro.
Oh, yeah.
I still think Dean Wade could have some value, maybe. But if Sam Merrill can give you, if he's only playing 10, 12 minutes a night, and he can give you that defensive effort, then I got no reason to play Isaac Okoro whatsoever.
Well, let me ask you guys this based off that, because I want to save the Wade and Okoro stuff for its own. But if Merrill plays like he did in game 1, and it's not unreasonable to think he can replicate that. He had 6 points. He was 2 for 4 from 3. He tied for the game lead in blocks with 2. Earl, you were there. You saw what Merrill did with your own 2 eyes. If he plays like that, is it even a question? Who's the 8th man? We'll save the struggles of a core.
No, I don't think so.
If Merrill plays like that, is it even a question?
I don't think so at all. I think the one thing that don't show up in the box score is body language, right? And his body language was just screaming, like confident, like the moment was not too big, like he belonged here. When he stepped on the court, when he stepped into his jump shots, he shot them with conviction. He was on ball defending like better than I had seen him at any point this season. So if he continues to play like that, without question, I think that spot is his.
He had 2 block shots.
Yeah.
Sam Merrill.
He did.
Had 2 block shots.
Another thing to look for in this game from the Miami Heat standpoint, because I do think Spoelstra is going to make some adjustments, and this is the Heat. I think they will be a little better. That kid, Davion Mitchell, is a pest. Is a pest. He is one of those Dele, Anderson, Varejao type players, just a guard for them. And I noticed he was matched up with Donovan Mitchell one-on-one. And that was one of the few times I seen Donovan couldn't move him. He couldn't move him. He couldn't get away from him. I was like, oh.
Well, but he still scored a ton of points.
Yeah, he did. And then, Tyler Hero, he got a clip. So
I hate that guy.
Yeah, he got a clip, though.
He just, let's face it, when a white American guy is good and he plays for another team, when he's on your team, you love him. But when he's on another team, he's irritating. I find him irritating. I don't like him. I don't like Duncan Robinson. I want to punch Duncan Robinson in the face. I do. I won't.
I get them both a little confused sometimes.
They look a little alike.
They're both lanky white dudes. They both can shoot really well. Hero is the better player, obviously.
Yeah, certainly.
I don't know.
I find them irritating.
Just the American white guys?
American white guys. Yeah, the Euro white guys, they're all right. But
Bull just hates his people.
There's some truth to that, but
there's some truth
that's
to that.
the thing in the NBA. There's no, how my thing in football.
What about Chet Holmgren?
Here's the
Jewish?
thing. No, I don't think so. I don't think there's any Jewish players in the NBA. Oh, there's the
Hey, Chet is
one
skinnier
Israeli
than Tristan
guy.
McKenzie.
Huh?
Chet Holmgren, he might be skinnier than Tristan McKenzie.
For some reason, I can't picture how skinny he is.
He's very skinny.
He's very skinny.
Here's the thing. What I always say about white football players, right, is
overrated or underrated.
They're all either overrated or underrated.
Yeah, no in between.
But it's the same thing with white American basketball players. They're all either really likable or really annoying. I don't know why that is. It's just a thing.
Where does Strus fall?
If Strus was on another team, I'd hate his guts.
Merrill?
Because his I don't like the, what do you call it, the headband that he wears.
And the long hair.
It's an obnoxious.
You know what he looks
headband.
like? You know who he looks like with the hair?
Yeah.
Uncle Jesse from Full House. John Stamos.
Does
you see that?
Like him. Yeah.
Little John Stamos there?
There is a little John Stamos.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Alex Caruso.
I don't like him either.
Is he Jewish?
No. Why did you ask me that?
Because you love Jewish players.
The only Jewish player I think in the NBA is
Jetty?
What's his name?
Jetty Osman?
No, he's not in the league anymore. Is the guy from Israel on
Advia.
Yeah, was he in Washington?
Portland.
Oh, Portland. Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
I think.
Man.
Maury Stoudemire's Jewish. He converted.
Did he?
He's super religious too.
Great.
He posts these videos of him praying and stuff.
What about Austin Reeves?
Bizarre.
I'm just gonna name white basketball players until we have Daniel Oyefusi join us in 1 sec. Austin Reeves.
Oh, you don't like him?
No. Plus, he's got the double whammy of American white guy and the Lakers.
He's also making a transition between being the preppy white guy who's in a frat to now trying to be on the other team.
Speaking of American white guys, I was watching this documentary and they was talking about the best point guards of all time.
Yeah.
John Stockton don't get a lot of the love that he deserves as being one of the best point guards to ever play in the league. Is that what it was?
He was too hairy,
dude. John Stockton.
John Stockton looked like your dad playing basketball.
Well, and there were a lot of guys in that era did.
Yeah, Chris Mullin.
It's so funny that you say that because the white guys in that era I like. I liked Stockton. I liked Mullin. I liked Mark Price.
Dude, Scott Skiles. Come on, look at that guy.
There you go. I mean, yeah,
that guy looks like he could be anybody's dad.
He looks like he's playing, basketball with Mike at the Y.
I used to do the 3-point shootout with Detlef Shrimp all the time.
Detlef Shrimp, baby.
They said I was listening to this interview with I can't remember if it was Tim Hardaway or Mitch Richmond, and they said that they would when they were warming up when they practiced with Chris Mullin, he'd make 100 threes in a row in warm-ups. I remember seeing him play at the park in Marine Park, Brooklyn once. It was unbelievable seeing him play in person.
That's pretty cool.
Go ahead. Any more white guys you want to throw my way?
Jeff Hornacek.
Oh man,
I like Jeff Hornacek,
dude.
Another. Maybe it's a generational thing.
Peyton
80s
Pritchard?
and 90s white guys, cool. 2020s white guys, lame. I don't know.
Pritchard?
You didn't throw Mark Price in there?
I said Mark Price.
Mark Price.
Yeah,
okay.
Mark Price.
Okay.
Peyton Pritchard?
Dude, what about Steve Kerr, man?
I believe it or not, I like Peyton Pritchard. Even though he's a Celtic, I like the way he plays. I like his game.
Pritch plays.
I do like him.
All right, we got our guest. Predictions real quick. Cavs win tonight, yes or no?
Cavs by 16, guys.
Cavs by 20.
Nah, closer than you think. Cavs by 9.
By 9. Don't cover for
All
Dustin.
right, all four of us are predicting, though, a Cavs. We're going to bring in Daniel Oyefusi in 1 second after a quick word from Buckeye State Credit Union. If you're unfamiliar with them, let me introduce you to the financial friend you didn't know you needed until right now. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local brand that offers a wide range of products from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans. They have some of the lowest rates around and are committed to serving Northeast Ohio. The local location in Cleveland is in Shaker Heights, but there are 8 brick-and-mortar locations across the state. Buckeye State Credit Union is here to make your life easier. They make banking more convenient, always putting the customer first so you feel cared for, valued, and respected. Connect, simplify, and adapt. Those are the core values that make Buckeye State Credit Union the right choice for you. For more information, head to buckeyecu.org for even more information. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified.
No Kyle
with
Manzardo in the lineup today. I don't like
With
that.
that,
Go ahead.
we are thrilled to welcome in ESPN Browns beat reporter Daniel Oyefusi to the show. How you doing today, Daniel?
I'm doing good, It's been a long pre-draft process, so I'm just ready to get it started and get it over with, honestly.
Daniel, this is obviously you're somewhat new to the Browns beat. Were you here for last year's draft, or did you come in after that? I can't remember.
I was. This is actually like my 1-year anniversary because I came. My first day out here was April 20th. That was my first day in Cleveland. And then the draft was my first event, so it's kind of like a cool kind of 1-year anniversary for me. Yeah.
All right, well, congratulations on your 1-year anniversary, and thanks for joining us. This has been a crazy process, but it's for a lot of people, including you, it's the first time because even last year, they didn't have a first-round pick, and they haven't for a few years. This is obviously a huge pick for the Browns. They have not drafted well the last few years. Obviously, last season was a disaster. Do you believe that Andrew Berry's job is on the line based on the success of this pick, especially at 2?
I don't think this pick is necessarily gonna be. I don't think this is necessarily like the end all be all. I think this pick is the foundation of what needs to be a really strong draft class. I thought that the comments from owner Jimmy Haslam were pretty telling. Obviously we remember the Deshaun Watson swinging and missed comments, but he also said like Andrew knows that he has to nail this draft. And when you got 10 draft picks, the second time for the second most in the NFL, it's really the most value in terms of the capital and where the picks are. And you've got to come out of this draft with multiple starters and contributors, and that starts with 2 and the decision they make right there.
Daniel, I did a couple mock drafts over the last few days, and I went tackle a lot at 33. We know tackle was another position of need. In your opinion, holding that first pick in the second round, do you think the Browns really go in the trenches or more of a skill position player there?
Yeah, that's a real good question. I think that, it's been interesting to hear Andrew Berry and folks in the organization kind of talk about how they're going about this and, really emphasizing value in their draft strategy. It all seems like presumably the Browns are going to take Travis Hunter at 2. But then you wonder, where does the quarterback come into play? And the prevailing thought is that they're going to take a quarterback at some point on day 2. Is it going to be 33? Is it going to be 67? Is it going to be 94? I don't know. And I don't think the Browns truly, they might have a plan, but who knows what happens, the first night of the draft and going into the second day. If they are really hell-bent on getting a guy in that late first 33 pick, I think that there will be a couple guys available, but if not, I do think that this is going to be a draft that kind of skews offense, just looking at the way free agency shaked out and looking at their needs. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see, an offensive tackle. We see maybe a running back. With the way they're talking about this draft class, I don't know if you maybe need to get one at 33. But I would not be surprised at offensive tackle as well. It seems like maybe there might be a run on some of those tackles. But if one or two of those guys are available at 33, I could definitely see that. Even though they have put a lot of talk very highly of DeJuan Jones, and they expect him to be back for training camp. But they do need to kind of reinforce the trenches with that group getting older, and then some guys being free agents next year.
I was watching some of your colleagues there on NFL Live the last couple of days. They were talking about Travis Hunter. Lovefield Yates, friend of the show, buddy of mine. I disagree with him, however, on this, that he thinks he can't. Talking about Travis Hunter, he doesn't think that Travis Hunter will be able to play as many snaps as he was able to do both ways in the pros for a variety of reasons. I think he can, at least early in his career. What say you?
So this is the thing. I think that they should definitely give Travis the opportunity, presuming they pick him. I think that they should give him the opportunity. Like, I think even Andrew Berry kind of alluded to that. Like, we want him to prove that he can't before we say that he can't.
Right.
Now the thing about it is, and even I was listening to the Ravens pre-draft conference a couple weeks ago or last week, and John Harbaugh was talking about how like the mental side of it and everything that it takes during the week to put in that work. I'm also thinking, like, this just came to mind, like, during training camp, what happens? Because the thing is, I'll start here. As good of a wide receiver is right now, most people will say that he's raw as a wide receiver. People will say that he's actually more farther along as a cornerback than he is a wide receiver. But you still need to, like, cornerback is a technician. That's a technician position as much as wide receiver is. So how does that work during training camp? Is it like, all right, we're lining up against Denzel Ward for like one play, and then you switch over, and then you're at cornerback and you're going up against Jerry Jeudy? Like, I don't know. I think that to maximize, I think that there is a lot of value in him playing. There's a ton of value in him playing both sides of the ball in the NFL. But Andrew Berry said that, like, hey, he doesn't need to play both sides to be worth the number 2 pick. And if they think as highly of him as a wide receiver as it seems they do, because that's where they want to play him, I think that it is really beneficial for him to really hone that down and work on the nuances of his route running and make sure that he can be the best possible wide receiver that he can be for the Browns.
So, Daniel, based on everything you just said, let me just ask you your opinion. You spend a lot of time around this team, around this organization. Do you trust Andrew Berry and the Cleveland Browns to actually draft Travis Hunter and have a plan in place for him to maximize on his potential? Why or why not?
That's funny because somebody asked me that question a couple of days ago, and I said, hey, the track record obviously with quarterbacks might not be that great, but if Kevin Stefanski is this offensive-minded head coach, this 2-time coach of the year that everyone praises him for being, they have to make it work. They have to have a plan in place. This is a very, very, very unique case study because this is probably the most unique draft prospect you ever come across. But in terms of him as a wide receiver, yeah, I mean, you have to have the coaches in place. You have to have the plan in place to maximize his skill set. And we're going to see. I mean, this is all part of this plan. Like, everyone was wondering why they got another chance to come back after a 3-14 season. This is presumably why, because they trust their plan in place to draft and develop players. Again, the track record doesn't really support that. But I will kind of push back on the draft record and say, hey, they haven't had a lot of these premium picks. So now that they do, let's see what they do with it.
Daniel, you mentioned you think the Browns will take a quarterback on day 2. So if you had to bet on it right now, most likely, do they actually trade up into the back end of round 1 to get that quarterback? Do they stay at 33 to get that quarterback, or they take it later on day 2? If you had to bet on one of those 3 options, which would you go with?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Andrew Berry's draft record, his draft history, he's only made one trade on draft day where he's actually moved up, and that was to get JOK, years ago. Right. So history says they're not going to do that, but like when it comes back, you kind of got to throw all bets, all history out. We did an NFL Nation mock draft at ESPN yesterday, and we worked on it over the past week, and there were trades allowed, and I thought I considered that. Like, I looked at the draft day trade charts. I looked at what would it take to go from, let's say, 33 to 20 to maybe jump the Steelers for Shadur Sanders is if he starts to fall 33-24 with the Vikings. Clase, the GM out there, used to be with the Browns, has a good relationship with Andrew Berry. I think that's a possibility. And in all those scenarios, you're giving up like multiple day 2 picks and maybe 2026 second. And I'm thinking like if the board shakes out the way that most people are kind of expecting it to, like the over under for quarterbacks being taken in the first round is 2.5. So let's say we get the under. Let's say we get obviously Cam Ward at number 1, and then maybe who knows? Like there's still a lot of talk about whether Shedeur is even going to be the second quarterback. But let's say Shedeur does go off the board at 21. Like the odds are you're probably going to be able to get Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe at 33, unless the Giants trade up and get one of those guys. And again, a lot of it comes down to draft strategy. Like, is there a certain guy that they're targeting at 33 or in the top or, the back end of the first round? I do tend to think we're probably not going to get like a ton of that big run on quarterbacks that maybe we got last year. So I think that they should be able to stay at 33 and keep most of their picks and target a guy on day 2.
I agree with you, Daniel. I think they're going to stay at 33. I think they're going to take a quarterback there. And I think there's only going to be 2 quarterbacks taken in the first round. I'm with you. My guess is it's going to be Shedeur. You're right, though. It's certainly not a short thing. All it takes is one team that likes Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe or Tyler Shuck. I know somebody I used to work with in New York was talking about yesterday. There's a lot of buzz that the Giants are interested in Tyler Shuck. So who knows? But if the Browns have essentially a similar grade on all those guys, then they can be patient and stay at 33. I guess it depends ultimately what they think of. Who do you like most of those next 4 quarterbacks? Who would you take if it were your choice?
I've been a Shedeur guy since the fall. I'm not totally certain that the organization is in love with him. I think that they do think he's talented. But again, if they were in love with him, I don't think there'd be a question about it, right? I think they'd be getting ready to take him at 2. I think that'd be very clear. So again, I just wrote in a story that went on ESPN.com this morning. Like, really, when it comes, I don't think they're going to take Shedeur at 2, but it's definitely something that I think should be considered because he's probably the second or third best quarterback in this draft. And I think getting a quarterback on a rookie contract that can outplay that rookie contract is the quickest way to contention in the NFL. Like Andrew Berry has talked about getting, Jaden Daniels type quarterback and going from 3 wins to 12-13 in the playoffs. But again, it comes down to how they evaluate him and how they evaluate him, compared to the rest of the prospects. Again, if you have Shedeur at 20-25 as opposed to maybe a top 5 prospect or a top 10 prospect, and you got Jalen Milroe at 40, 50, 60 or whatever, you got Tyler Shuck in that range, and then you got Jackson Dart in the 30 range, it doesn't really make sense to pass up on one of the the no doubt prospects, top tier prospects in this draft, even though you would be doing that for a quarterback. When you talk about value, and that's what Andrew Berry said a lot, value. It makes more sense to get the top tier prospect at 2, and then you're at the top of the second round. More likely than not, you're going to have your pick of a quarterback at 33. But I am a Shedeur guy. Milroe, I'm kind of warming up on as my second choice just because of the traits. I think that people have kind of oversold, I guess undersell how much work the people that he's been compared to have done. When you talk about Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, those guys put in a ton of work to get from where they were as rookies to where they are now as MVP, Super Bowl winning type quarterbacks. But with Miller, not only do you have the traits, but I spoke to a scout who scouted him and has spoken to him and was like, he has all the intangibles. He has the Jalen Hurts type character where you trust that he's going to put the work in. So I'd say Shedeur 1, and then number 2, I'd probably go with Milroe as a long-term play.
Daniel, we'll get you out of here on this. You look at Kevin Stefanski's offense, and at its core, 2 of the staple positions is tight end and running back. What's the top running back prospect that you like the most for the Cleveland Browns, and what's the top tight end prospect that you like the most for the Cleveland Browns in this upcoming draft?
Yeah, we look at who they're probably going to be able to get on day 2. One of those Ohio State guys. Just living in the Cleveland area this past year. I've been watching a little more of the Buckeyes, and I think that you can't go wrong with him. It looks like Henderson is more of a, he can help more in pass protection. I've heard that he's the best pass protector, pass blocking back in there. So he has maybe that 3 down, versatility, and he's a home run hitter, junkies as well. I like him. Tight end, I really like Mason Taylor. He kind of has that pedigree. He kind of has that build. I think that he's one of those guys you can just kind of throw in there with David Njoku, and maybe you can do more inline stuff as opposed to Njoku. You could flex out a little bit more. But again, I think this is going to be a draft that skews offense. And again, it might not be like a lot of top end, high end guys. But they talk about it being a starters draft where day 2, round 2, 3, 4, and 5, you can get some contributors. So I look for the Browns to definitely add to this offense. I think this offense is going to look dramatically different. When we're talking on Sunday.
Daniel, good stuff, man. Appreciate it. Enjoy the draft tomorrow, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
All right, bro.
Thanks, Daniel.
Also, that was Daniel Oyefusi. Both can't pronounce his last name. I can, so point for me.
I can too.
It's the first last name you can actually pronounce there, Mikey.
Who said I can't pronounce his last name?
When I told you he was coming on yesterday, you said, okay.
I said I didn't know how to pronounce it because it's not like a professional athlete where the name has been out there that much. I didn't know, but now I know. Once you tell it to me, then I know it.
Try it.
Oyefusi.
Nailed it, Bull. My guy.
Just say it fast.
Power to you.
I mean,
That's what you do. When you're not sure how to pronounce a name, you do it really fast.
Yes, you do.
And never repeat it. I tell people this all the time. If you're young in this business, if you screw up a word or a name, don't repeat it. Then it brings attention to your mistake. Just keep going.
Power through.
Power through. That's how it goes.
All right, we got a fun topic coming up next. I'll tell you what it is after a quick word from Living for We. Gun violence is an epidemic, guys. It's the leading cause of death for teenagers. And on this season of Living for We, we're asking what can be done to end cycles of violence in cities like Cleveland, where the shooters value their reputation over their own lives and see innocent bystanders as just collateral damage. Living for We is more than a podcast. It's a resource for communities tired of chaos and ready to build peace. Living for We tells the real stories from those most affected and gives solutions from change makers in the community. The mission is simple: empower communities to create safer neighborhoods free from gun violence by highlighting local heroes, connecting resources and solutions, and building bridges through honest, community-driven dialogue. Join hosts Marlene Harris-Taylor and Maisha Watkins every other Tuesday for a new episode of Living for We. Keep your head up. A new episode came out yesterday. It is available wherever you find your podcasts, and you can also watch full episodes by searching for Living for We on YouTube. So, Bull, you and I, on that same phone call where we decided you did not know how to discuss and pronounce Daniel's last name, talked about this topic.
We did.
And I told you, I heard this quote from Nathan Zagura that we're going to play in a second.
Yeah.
And it's going to lead to a very decisive back and forth. What's the word I'm looking for? Contentious.
Yeah, could be.
Discussion
Could
back
be.
and
We don't
forth.
know.
Because I know how you think. I know how Earl thinks. And Dustin's the X Factor. He's the wild card here.
Love it.
So Nathan Zagura on Cleveland Browns Daily yesterday, they had Andrew Berry on. And they asked Andrew Berry basically, what are the options with the number 2 pick? This is what Andrew Berry told Nathan Zagura, as paraphrased by Nathan Zagura. Steve?
From the if the Cam Ward goes, there's take a player or trade. I mean, that's the options. Now, it's interesting. He worked into his comment there, which I found to be a very interesting comment. He listed the options as we pick a player at 2 in the interview that just played.
Mm-hmm.
We trade that pick, and then he said for a veteran. He said we trade that pick for a veteran, which that wasn't on my radar.
No,
prior to that comment, or we trade down for picks.
So potentially trading number 2 for a veteran. Got me thinking.
Right, now let's be honest. They're not trading the second pick for a veteran. There's almost no chance of that happening because there's not that many veterans that you would trade that second pick for, and the veterans that you would trade that second pick for are almost, none of them are realistically going to be traded. But
let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun.
Yeah, it's more fun than talking about mock drafts for the 80,000th
Yes.
time.
So if you say yes to this, that means you would do the trade. So we're just going to be on the same page. Yes means you would trade number 2 for this player. No means you would not trade number 2 for this player.
Yeah.
Some of these are going to be unanimous and quick. We'll run through them quickly.
Yeah.
Some of these I do think are going to get a little contentious between Bull and Earl. And Dustin, I'm fascinated to see which side of the aisle
me too.
you end up leaning on.
Yeah.
So we'll get the obvious ones out of the way.
Yeah.
You trade 2 for Mahomes.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Burrow.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Allen.
Absolutely.
Lamar.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Justin Herbert.
Of course.
I told you he was going to say yes to
Earl.
He was going to say no. I told you, Bull.
Okay.
I don't know.
What?
I don't know about Justin Herbert.
Oh.
I don't know.
Bull, did I not tell you yesterday?
Oh, you did.
I
Mike
told
said to me, Earl was going to say no on Justin Herbert. I said, no way he's going to say no on Justin Herbert. Go ahead, make your case.
I just feel like Justin Herbert has not been the quarterback that, like, I don't think he's just been that dude. I don't think when I look at Justin play, I don't see anything special. I don't see a guy that fits this build of the Justin Herbert that I seen year one of his career. Like, man, maybe I got too high of a ceiling on him, but number 2 for Justin Herbert, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know about that.
Go ahead.
I mean, you got eyes like some of the people that play in USTA on their line calls. I mean, terrible eyes. My God. Can we get you to Clear Choice Custom LASIK Center to get you some new eyes? You don't see it.
I don't see it.
What the hell are you talking about?
If the Chargers called Andrew Berry and said, I got something for you, we'll trade you Justin Herbert for that.
They'd have played a laugh track.
The Browns would have a party.
Yes.
They would do that trade so fast. First of all, I'd do it for 2 first-round. I'd do it for 3 first-round picks. And I know what a lot of people say is, you just did that for Deshaun Watson and it didn't work out. And, okay, that's fair. But with Justin Herbert, there's no off-the-field stuff. Justin Herbert, while not as good as Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar Jackson, I don't think anybody's going to argue that he's better than those guys. But I could very well argue that he's better than every other quarterback besides those 4 guys.
Yeah,
like, you can make a solid argument.
And he hasn't had an offensive line since he's been in the league.
And his best receiver last year was a rookie.
Yeah, and then his best receiver before that was like 39 years old.
Right. And when's the last time he had it? You know, he had Austin Eckler. His first year or 2 was still pretty good. But Justin Herbert is – nobody would have him out of their top 10, right?
Yeah, I just want to trade number 2 for him.
Listen, Earl loves his guys.
It would take you to trade 4 first-round picks to get a guy like that.
Exactly. Yeah. What's funny is when Mike brought up Herbert, there was actually I saw some random clip yesterday on Instagram of these 2 guys. I don't even know who they were, but they do some sort of talk show in Minnesota. And one guy said he heard from a friend that there could be a Justin Herbert to the Vikings trade where maybe Harbaugh would get J.J. McCarthy back. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah,
to me, that's crazy. Listen.
That's crazy.
You can't definitively name a quarterback besides the 4 top guys that's better than Justin Herbert, can you? Can you definitively name a quarterback that's better? You want to say Jaden Daniels? Would I rather have Jaden Daniels than Justin Herbert? Sure. But Jaden Daniels only done it for 1 year. I could, at worst, what's the worst case scenario? Herbert's the 7th best quarterback, the 8th? I mean, I can't go any lower than that. An absolute no-brainer. I love Travis Hunter. I would not trade down from 2 for, like, I'm not trading down to 2 to get some other draft pick. But if in some crazy la-la land I could get Justin Herbert,
yeah, sign me up for that,
100%
right?
doing it.
What's the next one?
Go ahead.
I did tell you, Bull.
Yeah.
Jordan Love.
This was the toughest one for me. That was really a tough one, guys. I'm curious your take.
It's a no for me, dog.
It's a no.
It's a no for me, dog.
I'm surprised it's a no for you. This one has me on the fence, but ultimately I said yes, I would do it for Jordan Love.
You could sell me on it. I don't think you're wrong for saying you would. Yeah. It's a no for me.
He's right on that borderline. Is he a tier 2 quarterback?
Something about that guy, I just don't.
He was the only guy.
I don't know what it is, man.
Mike gave me a list of 25 guys on the phone yesterday. I was definitively yes or no on every guy except for Jordan Love. I don't
think anybody's crazy for saying they would trade the number 2 pick for that guy.
So obviously you wouldn't do it for Love.
I wouldn't do it for Love, and I think for the same
you are effing crazy.
But I wouldn't do it for Love. I wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't do it for Love, and I wouldn't do it for Herbert.
Right.
For the same
I just think there's clearly a line of differentiation.
He would do anything for Love, but he won't do that.
I won't do that. I would. This is pause, but I would do Love. Yes, I would do Love.
You would do Love.
He was the only guy I wasn't 100% certain about.
But you still, at the end of the day, would make the trade.
I would do it. Yes, I still think I think Jordan Love could be a top 10 quarterback. I don't think he is right now, but I think he could be. And so ultimately, I would do it because you need a top 10 quarterback. Don't get caught up on the 10. It could be 9, top 11, whatever. You need a tier 1 or 2 quarterback.
I don't see the fire in that guy.
Maybe not. I might be wrong. He's the only one I was hesitant on. Go ahead.
That's what it is. Something.
Next one, Dustin. You go first on this one.
Gotcha.
Jalen Hurts.
You have to. You have to.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you have to.
100%. I know there's some.
I mean, there was
crackers.
some pause for me there for a second.
Yeah.
Because I don't like. He's not a elite dynamic thrower.
No, he's a flawed quarterback.
But he is a special player.
Yeah.
Who does a lot of things. His intangibles are off the hook.
His intangibles make up for the lack of greatness as a quarterback.
Well said.
I'd do it. I mean, he just won a Super Bowl. I think he's a great leader.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think he's a great leader.
Probably should have 2 Super Bowl wins, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he certainly could easily.
Over
yes.
Mahomes.
Yes.
We're going to get to some other positions besides quarterback, but we got all the quarterbacks in a row.
Yeah.
Jared Goff.
No.
It's close.
I like Goff, but he's below the line for me.
I would say yes.
Okay, look at that.
Brock Purdy.
Like who?
No.
Purdy.
It's a no for me, dog.
No.
Kyler Murray.
No.
Ooh, got a little Kyler Murray thought.
Yes.
Wow. So you like Kyler Murray more than Jordan Love?
I do.
Interesting. I like Love more than Kyler Murray.
Okay.
Interesting. All right. I mean, Kyler Murray, when he's at his best, is really good, but he doesn't consistently play at that level.
He makes a lot of errors. I mean, he does. He'll throw to the other team a lot.
Yeah.
But there's something about him. He's like a little Mighty Mouse out there.
That's a really little man.
Yeah.
And he's like a little Michael Vick. He could sling that thing, and he could also run away from everybody. So I don't know. There's something about him I love.
All right, fair enough.
Great
athlete.
He does get hurt quite often. I would say that.
Should have played baseball. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Tua.
Money.
2 and no.
No.
2 injury prone.
Tua can't stay on the field.
No. If you guarantee me he was going to stay healthy,
sure.
I would do it. But
or if you could just guarantee me we wouldn't have any more concussions.
right.
Other injuries,
yes.
I'd be like, okay,
right. But
maybe
the guy
he breaks his arm, maybe he has an ACL, whatever. But the head, that's
right.
That's
and every time he has a concussion, it looks like he's dying.
it's like a lightning strike in baseball. It's like here's another 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
It's like every time he has one, it's just
No.
you
No
push it
2
out.
for Tua.
All right, we're all out on Tua. Go ahead.
So I intentionally didn't choose the young quarterbacks on rookie deals, except for one, because this one I thought we could have a real back and forth on. Potentially.
Yeah.
Bryce Young.
Oh God, that is a fascinating.
I didn't give you
one.
this
You didn't
one.
ask me that one
I didn't ask you last night.
I am kind of in on Bryce Young.
He'd be the highest graded quarterback in this draft. It is worth mentioning.
I would take Bryce Young. I would take Bryce. I know he sucked as a rookie, but I thought he really improved last year. And you want to talk about a guy with no talent around him?
None.
His best receiver in the last 2 years is Adam Thielen, who's ancient. Obviously, got to catch the ball, but he's had, nothing around him. I know he hasn't proven a lot yet. I like this kid. I think he's going to become a good NFL quarterback. I don't blame people for saying no, but I would say yes.
Listen, he'd be the number 1 pick in this draft, wouldn't he?
Probably
over Cam Ward.
Probably would be, right, Mike?
He has a much higher grade than any of the quarterbacks based on Brugler, McShay, and Jeremiah.
So he probably would have gone one in this.
He'd be the number 1 pick in this draft.
And I also like how the world kind of shit on him.
Yeah.
And then he bounced back.
He did.
You know what I mean?
You don't see that, especially, some of these guys like Geno and Darnold took them a while.
Yeah.
And we'll see how good Bryce Young is this year. But with a change of coach, the worst talent around him in the league, he made big strides in year 2.
Agreed.
After everybody said, "Oh, he's a bust," C.J. Stroud, blah blah blah, and he made big strides in year 2. So
Agree.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
You're out on Bryce. I get that. I understand not being.
And I do for everything y'all said. I like how people shit on him and he bounced back and he did make strides toward the end of last year, but I just don't like small quarterbacks like that.
Yeah,
like he's short
That's
and
fair.
he's small,
That's
so
fair.
I just wouldn't.
That's fair. Go ahead.
Trevor
Mike.
Lawrence.
No.
I like Trevor Lawrence.
Sunshine.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I get it. You look at him and you're like, this guy should be a great NFL quarterback.
I've seen him do it in the league at a high level. There's been some inconsistencies. Obviously, injuries have been a factor in that, and like going through coaching changes and all that stuff. You're playing for Jacksonville. It's kind of a crap organization.
But he has had good receivers there. They have had good talent at wide receiver.
And he's a baller when he's healthy.
I just don't think his play's consistent enough.
I don't think he's Carson Wentz.
No, I don't think he's Carson Wentz either. But I don't know. I don't think I think he's just going to be one of those mid-tier quarterbacks his whole career.
Dak Prescott.
Not at this point, no.
No.
I wouldn't.
I don't know what Dak did to me or how he did it,
Yeah.
But Mike can tell you, anytime Dak Prescott name come up with anything, I'm always a no. I don't know what he did.
Dak is, I think, the most hated quarterback, and I don't understand why. I guess some of it's his lack of playoff success, but I've always liked Dak, but he's mid-30s. He had another big injury last year. I'm not doing that. This was 3 years ago? Yeah, but not right now for me.
He always puts up numbers.
Yeah.
It's something about the fact that he plays for the Cowboys, and they're always talked about.
Right, it's annoying.
And
yeah.
the national media always crap on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And specifically Stephen A. Smith.
Right, that's true.
And the folks there at the Worldwide Leader. But no, it's hard to say no to that one, though, because Dak is just a consistent guy.
I know,
but
he
hasn't done it, and he is old,
And injuries.
Yeah, I guess.
Are you going yes or no officially?
I'm sitting on the fence here, but I'll say no.
They'll say no. All right.
All right, so that ends the quarterback portion of this. Travis Hunter is a receiver, or he's going to play receiver if the Browns draft him. At least we intend, or we assume that would be the case based on how Andrew Berry's talked about him. So I picked a couple receivers.
Yeah.
I took the Chase and the Jeffersons out. Of course, you would make that deal.
Are you sure? Are we sure Earl would say yes?
Earl would. Let's say good point. Earl, would you trade number 2 for Jamar Chase?
Yeah.
Okay.
Justin
Twice
Jefferson.
on Sunday.
Okay. Listen, I think I know Earl pretty well.
All right, fair enough.
I've been pretty spot on with my prediction of how Earl would go on.
So Chase and Jefferson, obviously, you trade 2 for Chase and Jefferson.
What about CeeDee Lamb?
Yes.
I would.
Wow, look at that.
No.
Ooh. I mean, CeeDee's probably the third best receiver in the league, isn't he? After Chase and Jefferson? You wouldn't do it, huh? Yeah. How old is CD, by the way?
1 sec, but I don't think he's that old.
I think he's like 25, maybe.
Something about him rubs me the wrong way, too.
CeeDee Lamb is just turned 26.
I got weird little, like things with these guys.
All right, I like that. I certainly do.
I can't even explain it.
Yeah. All right,
That's how I was with Justin Herbert. I couldn't really explain it. I just wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't.
All right, Dustin's a no on CeeDee Lamb. I think you're crazy on that one. I mean,
Earl, you said yes to CeeDee.
As much as I love Hunter, CeeDee Lamb's a short now, and Hunter might be great at both. And I think
you know what it is. I think CeeDee Lamb's too big of a diva.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Yeah,
that's just
it is funny because as great as Chase,
bird's eye view opinion. I don't know.
As great as Chase and Jefferson are, I really don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think of either of them as divas.
Well, this next guy,
this
next guy on the list is the opposite of a diva, at least how I perceive.
Oh yeah,
Dustin, we can start with you, but Amon-Ra.
Oh, I love that dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy came from nothing.
Yeah.
So would you trade 2 for Amon-Ra?
Hell yeah.
I would too.
I would too.
Yes.
I would too.
Yes.
Even though we shouldn't be in that situation.
That's true. Could have had him already.
Yeah.
All right, this next one, Bull, you're going to go last in this one because I know what you said. This was the line that you gave me, the line of demarcation at receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Or would you do it for Puka Nacua?
I would. I would. I would do it for Puka.
Puka Nacua. Go ahead. Puka Nacua.
No.
And I'm with Dustin. I would not.
No, because we also don't have Sean McVay who can scheme this guy open.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
I like him, but if I'm trading him for a non-quarterback, the guy's got to be Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's an average.
And he's not.
He's an average athlete. He's an above-average human being, and he's a tough guy. He's an overachiever. All those things. Maybe they're probably not compliments to him.
Yeah.
But they are compliments because he does all the things right. But I also think that he falls into a system with a great quarterback in Matt Stafford who knows to get the ball in his area and he'll catch everything, and also Sean McVay who schemes him open.
That's right. And ultimately you're giving up Travis Hunter, whose ceiling is Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So I'm not doing that unless I get a guy that I think is already on a Hall of Fame track.
Yeah.
And Puka Nacua, while very good, I don't think he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
I didn't ask you this one last night, Bull.
Yeah.
Nico Collins.
No.
I
love Nico Collins, but he's older too, isn't he?
He's 26.
Oh, wow. I thought he was older than that. Nico's really good, but to me, not that level. Not the, I think I only have 3 receivers I would trade him for.
Yeah. Any running backs? I have a couple defensive players. No running backs.
No, I'm not trading him for. I'm not trading the second pick for Saquon Barkley.
On the same page.
As great as Barkley is, and he's the best running back right now.
I picked 3 defensive players.
Okay.
Well, I don't have Micah. Would you do it for Micah Parsons?
I would not. Would you guys?
No.
Which is kind of crazy because the guy's fantastic and he's young, but I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't either.
No.
I wouldn't either.
That shows you how much we think of Travis Hunter, all of us, because we all think it's going to be Travis Hunter. We're saying the 2 pick, but we're all thinking of it as Travis Hunter. And pretty much you'd only trade him for a top 10 quarterback.
Right.
And Jefferson and Chase. You know?
I have 2 other names. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson. I know he's coming off the injury, but if you wouldn't do it for Parsons, I'm assuming you wouldn't do it for him.
No.
And Kyle Hamilton was the last name I had.
No.
All right. It comes down to the quarterbacks. And I told you Justin Herbert would be the contentious one. I told you both.
And so none of those guys are going to get traded for the 2nd pick in the draft.
None of them.
So
Correct.
there's no chance. So to me, there's no way I'm trading that pick. I'm not trading. If Andrew Berry trades down, I'm going to be pissed.
I keep hearing as silly as like when every expert we've had on our show on offense, I keep hearing Justin Jefferson or Devontae Smith, and on defense, I keep hearing the name Champ Bailey, and it's just hard for me to give that up. Like I could potentially get a guy that got Justin Jefferson potential on offense, and even if he plays 30% of the snaps on defense, like I got Champ Bailey out there in nickel and dime packages to go along with Denzel and a great MJ Emerson. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy this year.
MJ Emerson.
It's going to be crazy.
You're back to loving MJ, huh?
Oh, yeah, never left.
All
never
right.
left.
You were wavering there.
Yeah, bounce back season coming this year.
All right.
I put in the chat as we were doing that.
Yeah.
The Herbert and the Bryce Young scenarios.
Yeah.
Herbert, 57% said they would make that deal.
They would.
They agreed with you, Bull. They would trade the number 2 pick for Herbert.
That's crazy to me that 43% of people said no.
It really is.
That's crazy. And we all love Hunter. And I think he's going to be great. But you have a chance to get one of the somewhere between the 5th and 8th best quarterback in the league. I think some of that is the scarring from the Deshaun Watson trade.
Well,
which
I
get.
just want to give you the results of the Bryce Young
I'm
deal.
sure if Herbert was 57%, I bet Bryce is 20%. Yes.
14 yes, 86 no.
Yeah, I knew I'd be in the minority on that one. I understand why people wouldn't do it. It probably would be the wrong call, even though I said I would do it. But
you know, guys that you didn't mention.
Who?
So what? Puka's what?
Anyone else you want to throw out there? You guys.
So on
throw a few names
Madden,
out.
I traded my 2026 first round pick for Marvin Harrison Jr.
I would not do it for Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, I traded that for
guys
Marvin
do it?
Harrison.
Malik Neighbors. I asked you Brian Thomas Jr. last night.
That's true. I would do it for Malik Neighbors. And I would do it for Brian Thomas Jr. So there are a few more receivers that I would do it. Those guys are so young and so good. Remember, with as great as Hunter probably is going to be, it's still speculation. We don't know.
Brian Thomas Jr. balled last year.
Those guys are
He finished 3rd in the NFL in receiving yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, he flat out balled last year.
on a team that wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Same thing with Neighbors. Had a great year on a team that was even worse.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, let's talk some baseball.
Let's do it. After a quick word from Amazon Fire TV, did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? You can turn your TV into a gaming system by pairing up your controller and entertainment hub on the Fire TV Stick 4K devices. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to dive into hundreds of premium titles. Just like College Football 25 or Call of Duty, it's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass, Ultimate subscription, and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including the Fire TV Stick 4K, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, and Fire TV Cube. So, Bull, during the show, we got some very interesting news here from our friend Zach Mizell. Steve, you want to take tag board?
Zach
You
Mizell.
call him Zach Mizell?
That's another one I always go backwards. Zach.
And
Zach
he's
Mizell,
giving
Zach
you shit
Mizell.
about pronouncing names?
Man.
It is. It's not my
Oh,
strong
my
suit.
God.
But in all honesty, and this is real updated news.
Oh, I hadn't even seen this because I haven't looked at my phone.
That's what I'm saying. It came out
Okay.
during the show. This because the Guardians have their getaway game today against
Yeah.
the Yankees. They play at 1:10 his first pitch. Zach tweeted, when asked Tuesday night if Emmanuel Clase was healthy, Stephen Vogt said yes, but that the club wanted to give him a second straight day off. Today, meaning earlier this morning, Vogt revealed Clase had shoulder discomfort after his outing on Sunday. He played catch today. His availability is TBD. Cade Smith got the save for Cleveland last night. As shown in the tweet, Stephen Vogt said they wanted to give him an extra day off. He has obviously struggled. We talked about that at length. Who knows whether it was a day off, wanting to give Cade an opportunity. Who knows? Who cares? The result was a perfect save for Cade Smith.
4 pitches.
Last night. Yeah, almost an immaculate inning.
Yeah.
Bull.
Yeah.
How much are you looking into the decision to go with Cade over Clase last night before you had this extra information, and does it change now knowing the fact that he may be hurt?
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things in what Stephen Vogt said. First of all, the Guardians, under Stephen Vogt, they were always this way, but they've taken it to another level under Stephen Vogt. They are extremely cagey when it comes to divulging information about injuries. This is weird. If he has shoulder discomfort, there's no way he should even be he should be on the IL already. So
Fact.
If they're being honest about his shoulder discomfort, I would expect him at some point in the next day or two to go on the IL. Maybe they just want to rest him for a couple of days because he did throw 30-something pitches on Sunday. Maybe they think if they give him a few days rest, it might be very minor, and they're like, okay, we'll give him a couple of days rest. Maybe they're going to give him an MRI and take a look and not. But they're so cagey about it. But if he has any shoulder discomfort at all, I'm 100% putting him on IR. I'm not messing around with that. When I first saw Cade Smith warming up last night, my first reaction was, okay, well, they're at least temporarily taking Clase out of the closer role. He struggled. He pitched poor. He actually pitched well Friday and Saturday, but then he was terrible against the Pirates on Sunday. He has given up 3 or more hits in 5 appearances this season. He did that 0 times last year. Think about that. 0 times in the regular season last year. This year he's already done it 5 times in less than a month. So I thought maybe they were taking him out of the role. I would have stuck with him if he's healthy in the closer role a little longer. But then after the game they said, okay, well, they were going to hold him out for 2 games. Now somebody said that Tom Hamilton had mentioned it during the broadcast. I need to clarify that Hammy said that, because I hadn't heard anything before the game that Clase wasn't available. The interesting thing is, Cade Smith, I don't think going to be available tonight. I don't know if he talked about that. I'll have to text Zach later and not call him Mizell.
It's a little inside joke me and Zach have.
Yeah.
We were texting this morning, actually, about that. I found the clip, if you guys want to hear it. We made our bold predictions this year. Steve, this was my bold prediction before the season. All right, so you guys went with your bold predictions. I need to pull up my number real quick to make sure I say this right, because I'm going extra spicy to the 10th degree here. Last year, Emmanuel Clase led the Major League Baseball in saves. Had 47 saves last season. I don't think he leads the Guardians saves this year. I think Cade Smith does.
It's an insane prediction by you.
The geniuses are the real ball knowers, and in our group chat with me, my great friend Zach Mizell, and you, me and Zach, real ball knowers, you, Chump City.
Well, how you said I laughed at you. I wasn't even on the panel that day.
I heard you laughing from Rocky River. I swear I could hear it chiming.
That is an insane prediction that could turn out to be correct. There was no reason to believe. Did you think he was going to get hurt, or did you think because he pitched like crap in the playoffs, it was going to carry over?
The clip's longer. I can show you the full.
Yeah.
I said I don't really have an exact reason as to why. I think the struggles, injuries, the trade rumors. I just think Cade Smith's that good. So.
Now, I still believe, as good as Cade Smith is, and he's fantastic, that if Emmanuel Clase is not hurt or not seriously hurt, I still think he's going to end up with more saves this year than Cade Smith. But if this shoulder discomfort turns into anything serious, then you're going to be right. Cade Smith is probably going to be the closer. Now, they could consider going with Paul Sewald because he has experience in that role, so they could still use Cade Smith in the 7th and 8th innings. However, Sewald hasn't pitched great either, so they might want to go with Cade Smith because he and Gaddis have been their 2 best relief pitchers this year. It'll be interesting to see who closes tonight, because Cade Smith, obviously, I'd be shocked if Clase pitches. After hearing those comments from Vogt, I'd be shocked if he pitches tonight. Mm-hmm. And Cade Smith, I believe, has pitched 4 of the last 5 days, so they're not going to use him tonight. You want to sweep the Yankees. I don't think
game balls. Let's say this afternoon. Let's say today. It's not really tonight.
That's true. Game's starting in 45 minutes.
Thank you.
Again, Kyle Manzardo. How do we not have Kyle Manzardo? I don't want to kill Vogt.
You guys are going to
I can't
go each other's throats.
No, I love it.
I love ball.
Kyle Manzardo. I don't know why he's not in the lineup, but all right. I mean, he's got the mustache too. This thing is.
That was my prediction.
He's got it. Austin Wells of the Yankees. Go ahead.
My bold prediction was on Kyle Marzardo. I had him for 20 home runs and 80 RBIs.
Well, it don't look that bold.
It don't look that bold now.
He's got 7 already
right now. So here's my casual, and I love your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
I would want to know how long he's been experiencing this shoulder discomfort, for one, because to me, since the beginning of the season, he's looked like a shell of himself. I always go back to whenever he blew that save at the end of last year, he went home, got on social media, posted all his accolades. For whatever reason, for me personally, ever since I've seen him do that, I've been kind of on the fence about Emmanuel Clase, because to me, it said a lot about his character, and it said a lot about like his just ability to bounce back from tough situations. And it seems like all that carried over into this year. So it's hard for me to look at, a couple games and he might be having shoulder discomfort when I didn't see him pitch on numerous occasions this year, and he hasn't really looked that great. And when you got a guy like Cade Smith that showed it last year and showing it early this year, listen, this is the AL Central, and the Guardians, they do enough just to always be in the thick of things. I can't have a closer just because his name is Emmanuel Clase, like muck that up for me if I got the opportunity to make some noise.
All right, here's the thing, though. I mean, the guy's been the best closer in baseball the last 3 years, so I can't write him off after a couple bad weeks. I do agree with you. I hated the social media stuff last year. He came off as very insecure last year, and that has translated to this year. The reason I don't think it has anything to do with the shoulder injury, though, is because when you have an injury, a shoulder injury that affects your pitching, it usually shows itself in terms of velocity. Like your velocity is going to be down. His velocity hasn't been down at all. And before Sunday, he had pitched, and he had like his 2 best performances on Friday or Saturday. I think you let him work out of it. Now, if it's a shoulder injury, my guess is this is just as cropped up here. Maybe because he pitched 3 days in a row. Maybe because on that 3rd day they threw him 30-something pitches, which I thought was insane. Mm-hmm. I would have pulled him out of that game, but they didn't. I thought that was a bad job by Vogt the way he handled it. In fact, I wouldn't have pitched Clase at all on that Sunday because he had a 3-run lead against a Pirate team that's got one of the worst lineups in the league. I would have set it up to have somebody else close that day. But all right, it is what it is. So, but I'm not going to give him a pass of the shoulder injury for why he hasn't pitched well. Emmanuel Clase's problem right now is players are swinging at the early in the count. So he's not able to get to 2 strikes on enough guys. And he actually, we want pitchers to have good command. The problem with Emmanuel Clase is every pitch he throws is in the strike zone. Everything. His command's too good. He needs to throw balls in the dirt sometimes. He never does. Everything's right down the middle. And I don't care how hard you throw, how nasty your stuff is, if everything you throw is in the middle of the plate, big league hitters are going to hit you, and that's what's happening.
This sounds crazy, but is that something that he can work on in bullpen sessions and things like that? Like somebody can get with him and say, you know what, you need to start framing your pitchers here, here, and here. Anything outside of the strike zone, and just start getting those reps doing that?
He has changed. He has worked on it. He's changed his pitch mix a little bit. Then he went back to what he was doing more last year on Friday. I don't know. Yes, the answer is yes. It can be worked on. Maybe they're better. I think this is just reading between the lines. I could be totally wrong here. My speculation is that he is struggling physically and mentally right now, and he's lost some of his confidence. And maybe there's a little something in the shoulder. They'll use that as an excuse to give him a breather for a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. They've got a good pen, right? And maybe they put him on the IL for 15 days, and he comes back in 2 weeks, and he's fine. When he comes back, the Guardians' bullpen is best when he's closing. And I'm not going to allow a couple of weeks of bad pitching to completely take him off the radar. I get it. Folks want Cade Smith because right now he's the hot new thing, and he's been phenomenal since the Guardians started. He wasn't even going to be on the opening day roster last year originally, and he's been just incredible. Maybe the best relief pitcher in baseball since the start of last year. Even better than Clase, who got Cy Young votes last year. But I think they're better when they could use Cade Smith in different spots during the game. They like to use Cade Smith 6th, 7th, 8th inning when they're facing the other team's best lineup. Mm-hmm. But for now, I think they will let him close. My guess is, just a hunch, Clase goes on the IL today or tomorrow. Probably not today, But my guess is before Friday's game, he goes on IL, and Smith will close for a bit, and I'm sure he'll do a great job. But I think Gaddis will probably close tonight. I would use him to close
today,
this afternoon.
I trust your expertise on that. You know, if you feel like the Guardians are better with Clase, again, you're the baseball guy. I trust that. But I also trust Stephen Vogt based off something I seen last year. Emmanuel Clase has name recognition, and sometimes as fans, when we got a guy that we're familiar with that has success and has name recognition, we want to give them more leash of that rope.
Yeah.
But you should.
Yeah.
But last year I seen Stephen Vogt as a rookie manager.
Yeah.
Tristan McKenzie, a guy with name recognition, wasn't getting it done, and he made a swift move. So I have confidence that if Clase goes on the IL, come back, and we're still going through the same stuff, I think Vogt will make the move. His last name be done.
Yeah. At some point, yes. Clase's been an all-star player.
Yeah.
McKenzie has.
And I know, but I'm just saying, like, to the fans, Tristan McKenzie is a name that you can relate to, and to see him get sent down, like, damn, that's Tristan McKenzie they sent down.
Yeah.
It shows me that Stephen Vogt has no issue doing that with nobody.
Fine, I agree. And if Clase comes back, whenever he comes back, whether it's tomorrow, today, or 2 weeks from now, if he continues to struggle, I give a longer leash to a guy who's been the best closer in baseball for the last few years. I'm not gonna throw away a couple of years of great pitching, like elite pitching, because of a couple of bad weeks. I would give him more time, but if he's injured, that's a whole nother story. Good win by the Guardians last night.
Other than the closer situation,
yeah,
they just beat the Yankees 2 times in a row. They've won the series. They've won 5 in a row now, Bull. I mean, it's early, still very early, just 25 games into the season or 23 games into the season, but Guardians are playing some pretty damn good baseball right now.
They are. They need. I know Jason on our text chain was going on a rant about how bad the Guardians lineup is. And, yeah, I've got my real concerns about the Guardians lineup. There's still issues in that lineup. There's too much punch and Judy. We need a little more power. They've lost some power with Naylor gone. And you could say, well, Manzardo's making up for it. But I would have loved to have Manzardo and Naylor instead of Manzardo and Santana.
I was laughing at those messages when I was reading them yesterday because I was reading them in Jason's voice.
I know. He was on a roll.
He gets hot about when for whatever reason, there's always the A's. That's his reference point to the Guardians.
Well, because the A's are calling up their top draft pick from last year and the Guardians haven't.
Yeah.
And, like the Guardians, in the inning they scored those runs, they got kind of lucky. There were errors and like Daniel Schneemann, who to me is not he's not a major league starter. He got an infield hit. They got some lucky plays on that. They need to be able to they need some upgrades in the lineup. Hopefully they can do it as the season goes along. But the Kyle Manzardo development has really saved them, because if he struggled, they'd be in huge trouble, because he's been there. I mean, he and Jose and Quan, they've been the 3 guys that have been fantastic. Yeah. Nobody else has done much of anything.
Gender reveal, Quan. Shout out to him. And shout out to David Fryer. Having a baby girl.
Oh, I didn't see that. Good for both of them. Quan did a gender reveal?
He did a gender reveal for David Fryer. He came up and he put a pink wrist
I didn't even realize. How did I miss that?
Were you watching?
I watched the game. I'm gonna be honest. I watched the game on mute most of the time.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I'm not going to comment on that any further. I'm just going to say I watched the game on mute.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes I put Tom Hamilton on, but you got to sync it up, and so sometimes I'm just like, I'll just watch it on mute.
I love seeing the Yankees lose, especially because I work with this guy.
Honest.
I'm too honest. You're right. I wish there was
just let it go.
I wish there was an option to watch.
Still didn't let it go.
Don't you wish there was an option to watch a sporting event with no announcers and just hear the nat sound of the game?
Dude, listen.
Yeah, the best.
The Tennis TV app.
Yeah.
I can pick the matches. It cuts out the commentary.
Isn't that great?
It's the best, dude. It is the best. First off, tennis the sounds are great.
Yeah.
Especially like they're playing on clay right now.
Bunting,
all of it.
The sound of the ball.
All you hear is the umpire will say the score.
Right.
But that's it.
The nat sound.
Yeah, and then you actually can hear the players too, because there's parabolic mics everywhere.
That would be awesome. When the other day with the Cavs game, when the announcers' mics went out and then Dennis Scott was talking, I was like, let him just sit out.
Just lay out.
Let me just hear the nats. I want to hear the squeaking of the court.
Oh, yeah.
I want to hear guys talking trash a little bit.
Dude, it's the best thing. I take out the commentary all the time.
Oh, man. I wish they had that for baseball, football. Just to hear all, the sound. I'd love to hear the offensive linemen there grunting and fighting there. That would be great. Anyway, that's it, Mike. So, yes, the Guardians are playing well. I believe, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember the exact year. I think if the Guardians win today, I think it would be their first sweep of the Yankees in Cleveland. I want to say since the 70s, which seems insane because the Guardians have had a lot of good teams, especially in the 90s and early 2000s. Now, the Yankees were really good then, too, but I want to say this would be their first sweep since the 70s. You see that anywhere?
There's no way. Since the 70s?
I think so. Maybe I'm insane and I made that up. I feel like that's the case. Which doesn't make sense either because in the 70s, the Yankees were actually good in the 70s and the Indians were terrible in the 70s, the whole decade.
The quick Google search says the Guardians, formerly the Indians, last swept the Yankees in Cleveland during the 2017 ALDS, winning the series after a 2-0 deficit.
Talking about like a regular season series?
I'll look that up. I'll have that answer by the end of the show.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Moving on, guys. We got some more Browns, some more Cavs to get to today. The NBA playoffs are here. Game 2 tonight between the Cavs and the Heat. You can bet on it on FanDuel, which has different props, spreads, player lines, you name it. They got it on FanDuel. And right now, if you place a bet of $5 and you're a new FanDuel customer, you can get $250 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. But we kind of mentioned this earlier, and Dustin, I'm curious your 2 cents on this. But Isaac Okoro went 0 for 4 from 3 in Game 1. Played 16 minutes, not a ton of minutes, but a decent chunk for a reserve. He is now 13 for 52 in his career from 3.
Mike, I'd feel better if it were you shooting those 3-pointers.
I guess that was my question. Have you lost all faith already in Isaac Okoro?
Yeah, no, I have no faith. In fact, he has no faith in himself. You can see it.
Fact.
The second he gets the ball, he's like, he wants to get rid of the ball, and I get it because he's not a scorer. And he's playing in a playoff game where he's a liability, man. He's got to know that being on the court, that's got to suck.
Earl before said that Sam Merrill has great body language on the court, and you're right.
Okoro's got the worst.
Okoro's body language is terrible.
I mean, I like the guy. I mean, I think he's a very talented athlete. He deserves to be in the NBA. But on this team, a championship caliber team that is a very high efficient offense, he can't play.
He's the only player, and maybe Dean Wade, but really he's the only player that they have that you have no faith on the offensive end in. None, right? When he shoots the ball, I assume it's going to be a miss. He's the only player on this team that I assume that.
I mean, I trust him on defense. I mean, I'm cool with him playing late in games as an offense defense and sub his ass out.
Right.
But he's a liability on offense.
Big time. You done with him, Earl, or no?
So, when it comes to this question, I'm more done with Dean Wade than I am with Isaac Okoro, but it ain't like I got much faith in either one. When it comes to Isaac, everybody knows, he's an offensive liability, and I don't care how good you are defensively. If you can't hit no shots, then you put your offense in a compromising situation, and it makes him hard to play. But you know what? At least he shows up. At least he goes out there and gives an effort. It just seems like, to me, Dean Wade is always missing in action in the biggest moments. For you to be a 6'8" guy that's supposed to be this two-way, wing player that can score and can defend, it just seems like, and I get the efficiency number shows that they're better with him, but man, the stat sheet don't really show that too often than not. It's just, and then the last game I seen him getting chewed out by Kenny Atkinson, and he never got back in the game.
Yeah.
It's just he's the dude that's you know how I'm upstairs all the time, I'm never really around. He's never really around. I never really see him around, and then when I see him on the court, it's not like, to me, he's having an impact on the outcome of the game. And I get it, the advanced stats say something different, but the eye test, it doesn't show that for me. And so for me, Dean Wade is always toted as this 6'8" wing that we can't get rid of because he's 6'8". Well, Isaac, everybody know Isaac isn't a scorer, right? You know what you're going to get from him defensively. If you get anything offensively, it's a bonus. But Dean Wade, there's an expectation to get something from him on the offensive side of the ball, and it's just not there.
Now, to defend him a little bit, he didn't play. I mean, what did he play, 7 minutes? Mike?
That's because he got chewed out by the coach.
Yeah. I know, but I mean, it's hard to do much in 7 minutes. But your overall point I agree with. You know how every basketball season it'll be the 2024-25 season? Dean Wade, you might as well take out everything after the dash because he's Mr. October, November, December. In October, November, December, Dean Wade plays really well. And then the calendar turns and he disappears. He's either hurt or he's a non-factor. This happens every season. He hasn't even been on the roster, I think, for the last 2 postseasons. And he was a non-factor. So I don't have much faith in any of them, in either of those 2 guys. Here's a question, Mike, that I'm curious your answer to.
Okay.
If we say Sam Merrill has locked in that 8 spot, and I don't even know that he's locked in that 8 spot, but let's say he has. If the Cavs are going to go to a 9th guy, which they played 10 guys, at least 7 minutes in this first game. If the Cavs are going to go, is there a chance there's another guy besides Dean Wade and Okoro that could get in the mix for a few minutes, 7 minutes a night as the 9th guy? Is there anybody else that would even get a chance or no?
Yeah, I think Javonte Green could slide in and take a few minutes because he does a lot of the same things that Okoro theoretically brings. Now, they'll leave Javonte Green wide ass open just like they're leaving Isaac Okoro. It's not going to change any of the... It's not going to change the way any team guards Cleveland. Okoro, Javonte Green. But if Isaac misses 2 or 3 threes again and you just don't think he has the confidence, I don't think Javante's necessarily scared at the moment. He's played in enough playoff games. He's been around the league for 7-8 years now. That guy at least has the same skill set to be a long, pesky point of attack defender.
Do you think we could see where at some point here they just play 8 and nobody else really plays any legit minutes?
Me and Jason have been trying to tell you, at some point the playoff rotation gets cut down and cut down. I don't think it's against Miami. I don't think it would be in a second-round series, but I've said for the last 4 months, if they face Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals and Kenny's playing 10 guys, I'd be shocked.
Mike, in the pregame press conference before Game 1, Kenny was asked about how many guys did he plan on playing. And Kenny said, we stick to who we are. We're going to do what got us here. We're going to start off playing 10, and then we'll see where we go from there. So to everybody's point, I think Miami round 1, you probably start off with 10. I think he's going to assess what happened in Game 1, probably shrink that down to 9 or 8. And then as we go throughout this playoff journey, I think you'll probably see it shrunk down probably to about 7 or 8 consistently.
What's the biggest difference going to be tonight, guys, in this game? I mean, we know the playoff series change on a dime. Right. And they've got a really good coach who's going to make adjustments. From what we saw in Game 1, what do we think will be different from what they try to?
I think Spo is going to try to slow us down into more of a half-court type of team.
I was thinking about taking the under tonight.
Oh, that 212?
Just because I think it was like
212 and a half.
It was 212.
Yeah, but it was something about the same for the first game.
Yeah, I love the under, Dustin. I'm with you. I love the
No, you're right. It was around the same for the first. It was like 216 or something like that for the first
game. Yeah, it went
game.
over 221.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're probably right about that to try and slow the Cavaliers down a little bit, play a little bit more methodical.
A million different junk science defenses out there. They've tried a little 1-3-1 trap for a minute, and the Cavs beat it. They're going to throw 1-3-1s.
Well, they play more zone than any team in the league, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And I think they're going to try to do anything they can to get the Cavs out of their rhythm. Because they know at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, they don't have the firepower to keep up with Cleveland. It has to be a low-scoring, 97 to 96 kind of game for them to have a chance to win.
What's his name? The backup, that center. Ware is his last name?
Ware, the rookie.
How many minutes did he play in the first game?
20 minutes.
Because I thought he played really well. There was one point he was playing really well on both ends, especially on the defensive end. And then they took him out, and it felt like the Cavs kind of took off after that.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of offense when he's on there because he's not much of an offensive threat.
Right, but he's a real presence defensively.
Yeah, he's 7'1" with gigantic arms. And giant wingspan.
You think he'd have some? I mean, he's 7'1". How do you have no offense?
No, he's not a bad offense. He actually can make some threes.
He's just a young player.
You're not running any offense for him, and the Cavs will say, "You shoot." Just like they leave a core open, the Cavs will have Khalil Ware taking 15 threes tonight if they left him wide open.
Does he shoot threes?
Yeah, he's actually not a bad 3-point shooter.
It's crazy to me these 7-footers shooting threes.
He was a guy when the Cavs were going through the lottery last year. I guess they had the 20th pick.
Yeah.
I was in a perfect world, this guy falls to Cleveland.
As their third big guy, yeah.
As their third big guy. And he had all the talent. He went to Oregon, was a 5-star kid, and then transferred to Indiana.
Yeah.
And I had a couple assistant coaches from around the league tell me, this dude's workouts are incredible.
Yeah. But he would have been a good fit.
We're not sure if mentally he's, locked in enough to be worthy of a high lottery pick.
Yeah.
He might be there at 20, and he actually he's going to be an all NBA second team rookie team. So he had a good year. Good year.
Yo, real quick,
Yeah.
it's funny because Mike was like, they're going to throw so many different things at the Cavs because they know they don't have enough.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this earlier today. Miami might get swept. And I know we give a lot of kudos to Eric Spoelstra being a championship coach and Miami being who Miami is. But the reality of the situation is no matter what adjustments they make, I trust Kenny Atkinson and his staff to make an adjustment to that adjustment. And even if we got so many dudes that can go get a bucket, that even if your adjustments stop 2 or 3 guys and Bam and Tyler Hero had good games, we still got 2 or 3 other guys that can outscore them and still get us over the hump to victory.
Yeah.
And the more that I just look at it, it's just one of those things that coaching be damned, they don't have enough.
It's 1 versus 10. The Cavs should sweep.
Yeah, they won 37 games. They're the only qualifying team in the playoffs that didn't even win 40 games this year. So
it's just they should sweep them, but they might win 1 game. I don't know that it matters. You'd rather sweep and end the series as early as possible. But, these series, every year, I don't understand how people do this, and I'm not even a huge basketball guy, obviously. But after the Timberwolves beat the Lakers in Game 1, there were a lot of people, the Lakers are in trouble. It's 1 game. And, of course, predictably, the Lakers won yesterday.
Memphis is in trouble. Memphis is in real trouble.
I don't know Memphis is going to get a game.
Well,
Memphis in real trouble.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's different. That's 1 versus 8.
Yeah, true.
Or whatever they were.
But
1 versus 8.
There's a difference. To say the Lakers are in trouble, the Lakers are the favored team in the series. To say they're in trouble after 1 game is stupid.
Yeah.
In a 1-8 series, it's easy. Yeah, okay, fine. I mean, the Heat are in trouble. We know that. They're going to lose. Nobody thinks they're going to win. But there are probably most people thought the Lakers were going to win the series. And then they lose Game 1, and everybody's like, I don't know, they're in trouble. It's 1 game. These things change, as you said, on a dime all the time. We've seen many, many times a team look great in 1 game in a series and then play terribly the rest of the way, or vice versa.
That is true.
Go ahead, Mike.
There's 2 more things I want to get to, so let's keep moving on, guys. This next topic is brought to us by Buckeye State Credit Union. If you're unfamiliar with them, let me introduce you to the financial friend you didn't know you needed until right now. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local brand that offers a wide range of products, from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans. They have some of the lowest rates around and are committed to serving Northeast Ohio. The Cleveland location is in Shaker Heights, but they have 5 brick-and-mortar stores across the state. Buckeye State Credit Union is here to help make your life easier. They make banking more convenient, always putting the customer first, so you leave feeling cared for, valued, and respected. Connect, simplify, and adapt. Those are the core values that make Buckeye State Credit Union the right choice for you. Head to buckeyecu.org for more information. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified. So we talked about JOK a lot over the summer, over the winter, over the offseason, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And we have been under the impression, because of the lack of medical updates we've gotten from the Browns on JOK, that it'd be a long shot for him to end up playing. However, the Browns opened their doors in the Berea facility to off-season workouts yesterday in the off-season program. And we were surprised when they tweeted out this video. Steve, take it full.
What's up, man?
Yeah, bless. Give thanks for life and the mighty life you're giving. All the best for 25. Let's get it.
Good to see you, JOK.
Bless. I was rough.
JOK is the oldest looking young guy. Every time I see him, I'm like, he looks like he's 50. What is that? Speaking of which, have you guys seen, real quick before I get back to this, have you guys seen this I've seen this video a couple of times now of people looking at the lineup for like the 1985 Penn State team or whatever.
That's great.
Where they all look like they're 50 years old. It's and they all have these like necks that are the size of.
Yeah. No, I've seen it.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's very strange. But in terms of JOK, if he plays this year, I've been thinking of him as out. In my mind, he wasn't going to play, even though we've never been told that. The Browns have been very cagey about what's going on with JOK. There's been no clear answers. If he ends up playing that this year, that's a huge bonus.
Huge bonus. I never thought in a million years that he would ever be in uniform again.
Right. It just seemed that way.
Yeah.
Even though they never said that.
I mean, I think we were all being, cautious with the injury because it's a neck. It's a very severe situation. So it's great to see him in the building. I still don't have
it doesn't mean
high optimism that he's going to play, but that's something I didn't necessarily expect to see this time of year.
Yeah.
Dustin, let me ask you a question real quick. When you show up for the offseason program, What is that offseason? Like, can you give us a little insight into what he's actually showing up
this
for
time
at
of
this
year?
time
What
of
are
year?
I mean, it's different probably now than when I played, but it's very basic stuff, guys.
Yeah.
It's not even like that intense. It's you work out. You'll do some on the field stuff, which is not football specific, but it's just like conditioning, things like that. You'll do lifts. You will have meetings with your coaches,
right?
And then
you're not running plays out there or anything like that.
I'm not exactly positive on how this time of year works now, specifically with the new
it's been a while.
new CBA. But like we were there, it was like OTAs, right? I mean, we had that period of time. It was separated where we were doing like voluntary workouts, which I think they still do those. But it's not anything crazy. More than anything, it's just good to be around your guys and be in the building and get the work done. You're a professional athlete at this point in time, so everyone sort of understands what you got to do to get yourself ready to go for the season. And this is just a nice little bonus for guys that are here. Now there are guys that are not going to be in the building. Excuse me, in the building, and that's okay too. Some of those veterans don't show up, but it's definitely good. By the way, it's probably really good for the morale of the team to see JOK in the building too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that point because Jock just comes off as a guy that would report no matter what's going on. And then for them to see him, I think it's going to give them a energy boost. I think it's going to be good for morale. I'm with Dustin. I don't have much expectations to see him playing at all in 2025. I think that this is something that he and the Cleveland Browns should be very, very careful with. Shout out to the team of doctors at Cleveland Clinic, who we got one of the best hospitals in the entire world. So I'm pretty sure
2 of the best hospitals.
Yeah, they'll take pretty good care of him. It's good to see him around the team and the organization. I don't have much of an expectation of him playing, and honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards my personal opinion of him not playing in 2025. Just Jock is a great dude who do a lot of great things, and you want to see him keep that quality of life to be able to do everything else that he's been productive doing. If that means missing the 2025 football season, but just being around the team to help for morale, so be it.
I completely agree. Now, we don't know what's going on. For all we know, he might be planning to play this year. Obviously, he's not going to play if it's a risk to his long-term health. They wouldn't let him do that, and he's smart enough to know not to do that. But, the Browns have never said he has an injury that's the end of his career. They've been cagey about it, so maybe we have overread into it that it's career ending, and maybe it's not. I don't know, and but yes, it feels like if we see him on the field, it's going to be a shocker.
Yeah, it will.
But maybe we shouldn't feel that way. I don't know. We'll see. But they're not going to put him in harm's way. Nobody's going to take a neck injury lightly or be casual about that. But it is great to see him in the building. The Browns, who are very lowly ranked in the social media game, put out an awkward, they were, how this big thing now is like players walk by the camera, and the Browns was like, what teammate are you most looking forward to seeing? Which I don't know. It was some of the players seemed very awkward in answering the question, but Greg Newsome was the first one they showed, and he said JOK, and he seemed very excited that he was in the building, as you say. But some of the other guys were very awkward answering that question. Browns, keep it light, man. Like, I don't know. Like, what's your favorite movie? What food do you want to eat at the cafeteria? I don't know. Those things are supposed to be funny, and I just found it awkward.
Hey, Jock looked like he just got out.
Like out the pen?
Yeah. And like some of those videos I be seeing on social media when your homies just get out and you just go meet them and you bringing them home. That's exactly what he look like.
That's what he looks like. That's true.
First day out.
It's just particularly funny because, like, on game day, and when you see him out, he's wearing these elaborate outfits.
Yeah, that's why.
And I was just like in this sweatpants.
Sweats, yeah.
His sweatsuit. It is pretty funny. And it's like super big on him and stuff. It is funny. All right, Mike.
I got one more thing I want to bring up today. This is a comment from Joe Flacco. He's doing his press conference right with the Browns.
Yeah.
We're going to dive into a lot of what he says tomorrow, but there was one part of it that stood out after a quick word from Living for We. We got to get one more sponsor read in here, guys. But gun violence is an epidemic. It's the leading cause of death for teenagers, and on this season of Living for We, we're asking what can be done to end cycles of violence in cities like Cleveland, where the shooters value their reputation over their own lives and see innocent bystanders as collateral damage. Living for We is more than a podcast. It's a resource for communities tired of chaos and ready to build peace. Living for We tells the real stories from those most affected and solutions from change makers in the community. The mission is simple: empower communities to create safer neighborhoods Free from gun violence by highlighting local heroes, connecting resources and solutions, and building bridges through honest, community-driven dialogue. Join hosts Marlene Harris-Taylor and Maisha Watkins every other Tuesday for a new episode of Living for We. Keep your head up. A new episode dropped yesterday. Make sure you check it out wherever you get your podcasts, and you can watch full episodes by searching for Living for We on YouTube. All right, guys. Joe Flacco, like I said, is talking to the media right now.
Yeah.
We're going to dissect a bunch of what he said tomorrow on the show, but one comment stuck out to me that I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on because Dustin and Earl are not here tomorrow, and I think it's worth chiming in on.
I'm here tomorrow night.
You are here tomorrow night for the live show.
I'm producing tomorrow night.
And that live show tomorrow where Dustin will be a part of the panel and Earl will be producing tomorrow night. Who's on the panel? Me, Dustin, you?
Lloyd.
G and Lloyd.
Okay, so then why is Earl producing?
Well, we're all producing.
We're all producing.
Oh, you're co-producing.
Well, it's a big production. It's a live show.
Like
There's
that.
a lot of cutting.
All hands on deck.
All hands on deck.
It's going to be a great show because we'll be here in studio at night, which we've never done. We'll be watching the draft on this giant TV over here. And so you'll be getting our live instant when the Browns make that second pick. We'll be watching it with you. And instantly reacting.
For the Cavs draft show we did,
I
had 2,700 people live waiting with us for the pick from home.
Yeah.
I want 5,000 live with us tomorrow.
Oh, it'll probably be more than that.
It'll be more.
That was a
5,000
late first-round
live.
pick for the Cavs that was going to be
I'm just saying,
non-factor.
I'm setting the bar. I'm looking at you. 5,000 live second screen viewings.
I bet you we have 7,000, 8,000.
Let's double it. We're going to have 10.
Almost 10.
We're going to have 10,000 live tomorrow. I'm very confident. This is the first, top three choice in UCSS history. It's a lot of buzz going on.
First round pick in UCSS.
Yeah, man, we're going to have 10K live. 10K.
We want that. Joe Flacco was asked. We'll dive into some of the other stuff he said later. And I'm going to read you the full quote. But he was asked about.
Before you get into that, are we going to break down the fact that John Fanta says the St. John's Red Storm have the #1 portal transfer class in the country?
In overtime today. Make sure you pay $4.99 to hear Bull's take on that. But Flacco was asked how he views mentorship of a young quarterback. I thought his answer was very interesting. Quote, "It's such a weird question to ask. You kind of get in trouble no matter how you answer it. I don't think anybody ever really views themselves as a mentor solely. I think we all want to go out there and compete and play. I think if you're in the quarterback room for a day or two, you could probably understand that things like that naturally come up." So we gave a non-answer answer. And we have talked about at length Flacco in the past saying, I don't really view myself as a mentor. Then in Indy, he kind of took on a little more of that role and was more vocal about it. In his first chance to address it here in Cleveland with the assumption they're going to take a quarterback early, he gave a non-answer answer. Not a bad answer, but he didn't say, sure, that's something I'm looking forward to. He said, it's just something that comes up naturally.
Listen.
Paul, what do you think?
This is not news with Joe Flacco. But he wasn't a bad teammate with Lamar Jackson. He wasn't a bad teammate with DTR last year, and he wasn't a bad 2 years ago, and he wasn't a bad teammate with Anthony Richardson. I appreciate the honesty. He's not coming here to be a mentor.
No, he's coming to play.
He's not going to be a jerk about it. He's not going to be like Aaron Rodgers level, like he was to Jordan Love, or like Brett Favre was to Rodgers. But he wants to be a starter. He still thinks he's a starter. He wants to be. He's got a chance to be. And so he's not coming here to be a coach. I get it.
Yeah, I respect him. I mean, he tells you no matter what city he's in, what situation he's in, that's not who he is as a person. And I respect the transparency. He's being honest. I want to come play football. I'm not here to be your daddy. I'm not here to be your teacher. I'm not here to be your coach. I am here to compete for a starting job and go out here and play and possibly win as many games as I can. I think that's just not who he is as a person, and I can't knock him for him not being that. Now, we got an inside track into the Hard Knocks last year.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston, that's who he is. That's what he's about. If that's who you are and that's what you're about, cool. But to Joe Flacco's case, I can't knock a man who continues to tell me that's not what I'm about.
Now, if the Browns draft whoever, let's say Jalen Milroe, because we've been saying that all along, and Jalen Milroe in training camp goes up to Joe and says, hey, Joe, what happened? Can you explain this to me?
He's going to answer the question.
And he was a jerk about it?
That's
I'd have
different.
a problem with that.
Right.
But I don't think he would be.
He's not a jerk.
Right.
He's just saying that he understands he's not here to be a coach.
Right.
He's not a backup. He's like the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
He's done it. He did it 2 years ago. He did it last year when he was healthy. I mean, the guy can still play in this league. The guy was a Super Bowl MVP. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been to Pro Bowls. Like, he's not coming here to be a babysitter.
That's right.
He's not coming here to be a bad guy or a bad teammate.
Yeah.
If someone asks him a question, he's not going to be like, no, a-hole, I'm not helping you.
Yeah.
No, he's going to help out the young player.
That's
If a young player asks, and by the way, this is the most experiences that I've had as a young player in the league with veterans. If you genuinely have curiosity and want to know something and learn and get better and you ask a veteran, they're going to tell you.
Right.
I've encountered maybe one guy in the 5.
Want to call him out?
No, I don't really.
I thought he was about to call him
smart.
Not really.
Yeah.
No, I don't. But there's not many players that will not help you when you ask.
Makes sense.
Cecil has repeated the same thing that you repeated, that as a young player, if you show this eagerness or enthusiasm to want to learn from a veteran, then they'll take you up under their wing and they'll answer whatever question.
Dude, I do it the same day now with my tennis game. I go to the top players that are around and I start asking them tips. And you know what they are? They're like super excited to help. They're like, oh, you want to know about this? I'm like, yeah, I do.
If you're showing the effort.
Yes.
Remember, it was like Brian Hoyer has said he had no interest in helping Johnny Manziel.
I don't expect
which I don't blame him. Because Johnny Manziel put no effort in.
I don't expect a guy who is competing for the job to go out of his way to help me.
Sure.
Now, if I ask for something, I would expect him to at least answer or help, help. But he's not going to be like, oh, you're doing this wrong. You need to do it this way. Like, if you don't ask, they're not going to help you.
And plus, a player might not want that kind of help.
Correct.
So you're not going to. You don't want to do that. But yes, if whoever they draft a quarterback is working his ass off and goes and asks Joe a question, I have every reason to believe Joe's going to be helpful.
And just like with Kenny, I'm pretty sure if Kenny goes to ask Joe a question now, he'll be open to it. But as far as all of these quarterbacks go, man, that's up to Kevin Stefanski, Tommy Reese, and Bill Musgrave.
That's right.
Those are the guys that's responsible for the growth and development of these quarterbacks.
That's right. And like if I'm Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco walks up to me and goes, you should be doing it this way, but I'd be like, screw him. Like even though he has more experience, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
So if somebody asks for help, you should do it.
Yeah, and I was also a player that never wanted to be coached by another player unless I asked for help.
Exactly.
It's like, I'm good, man.
Yeah, most players are probably that way.
Just think about your job. Like if you were, you're in radio.
Yeah.
And so you're working with somebody else and they go, hey, you know what? Next time you toss a break, why don't you do this?
Yeah.
You'd be like, who the hell does this guy think he is?
Yeah, right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But if Bull did that with me, I'm a younger host than Bull.
Sure.
I'm a listen to Bull. I can't see me coming.
I think you're all kind of in the minority of young people in this business.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people wouldn't take that criticism.
Usually I only give advice if people ask me for it.
Right.
In this business.
Bull called me one day after I hosted the show and we broke it down. True story.
Yeah, I'm happy to give anybody advice that wants it, but I'm not going to force my opinion on other people. I text Nick Wilson and Jonathan every so often, like, you guys, what the hell are you doing today?
No, I did try to do that with another young host at the Fan, and he
didn't want to hear it.
He didn't want to hear nothing I had to say. I was like, all right, cool, whatever.
Brats. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I had nothing. We have super chats.
We got super chats?
Yeah, we got a couple. I don't want to go into all the stuff that Flacco and Denzel Ward talked about. Travis Hunter reached out to him. They plan on working out together. If there was any indication.
Who said? Joe Flacco?
No, Denzel Ward is speaking, and he said that Travis called him. They plan to work out together.
Nice.
So you could read into that however
it's pretty
however you choose
easy to read into that. Yeah. It's not like they went to the same college or something, There's only one thing that
I'm just saying you could read into it however you choose to read into it.
Was Joe asked about Travis Hunter?
I'm only looking at through the tweets from Daniel, Mary Kay, and Zach Jackson. Flacco talked about returning to Cleveland. He said, if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said no way. It didn't seem like a possibility.
Wow.
He said he came back. The people are a big reason he came back. I think we talked about that last time he mentioned that on his interview on the Fan and with ESPN Radio. Ward was asked about playing both ways. We're going to dive into all these tomorrow, but I'll just give you the quick little preview.
Yeah.
Denzel said, I think cornerback is easier to learn than receiver in terms of the playbook.
Oh, look at Denzel.
He said the defense uses code words that can make things easier for – he wouldn't use the word Travis, but he said for a player.
Playing corner is so easy.
Really? That's another –
I mean, okay, it's not easy to play the position. It's easy to learn the position. If you
get
know
the basics down, right?
It's just – there's just not that many things you need to know. If you're a good player and you're a good athlete – Like Chris Gamble is able to go pick it up in like 2 days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Travis Hunter, same way. Like he's elite. So it's not going to take him a long time. First off, he already knows how to play the position. He just needs to know what coverage he's in. Now, there'll be some nuance between, like, if it's a matchup zone or if he's playing quarters or whatever it may be. But for the most part, when you put him in there, like, you're going to be like, dude, lock down number 82 over there. And he's like, okay, cool.
Can you remember, Dustin? I know, like, when he got to the NFL, he started at corner for the Carolina Panthers, Chris Gamble, right? He played corner. Can you remember, like, many games to where, like, he had packages for him?
On offense, no. I don't think they used him at all on offense, honestly, which is I thought was a bit of a shame because he was so talented.
Yeah.
Probably would have now if he had come into the league.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of split practice time 50-50. He was on the offensive side, then he came over to the defensive side. He had less offensive packages than he did because he played defense every snap.
Yeah.
But he could do it. I mean, and Travis Hunter has already proven. Travis Hunter played more than Gamble did. Gamble only did it for like half a season.
That's a great point.
Because Richard McNutt was our corner opposite me, and he got hurt career-ending injury. Yeah. And so we needed a corner. We didn't have any depth. So Gamble's effing around in practice and came over to one-on-ones and, like, locked down a bunch of, like, Michael Jenkins and some of our star receivers. That's like, he was just locking them down, and it was like a joke. And then Mel Tucker, like, went to Coach Tressel, was like, okay, no, we need him.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is.
Right, I didn't remember that had gone down that way.
To wrap up the show here, Topo42 says, Bull, the MLB app lets you watch with the radio synced up.
I watch on MLB. I watch on the MLB app, and when I click on the game, it only lists the 2 TV broadcasts. But here's the problem. I can't watch the Guardians on the MLB app.
That could be
I watch the Guardians on Fubo.
That could be why.
They're blacked out on the MLB app because I didn't pay the extra $50, because I didn't need to because I had Fubo.
You had Fubo, yeah.
Yeah.
Armac Dog says, I agree. They shouldn't trade the second pick. They should draft Travis Hunter, turn him loose, and he'll become a dog-pound favorite as a combination of Josh Gordon, Josh Cribbs, and Joe Hayden all in one. Do you agree?
I mean, if he's a combination of those 3 guys, he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
That is very high praise. Very high praise.
2 more.
By the way, speaking of Hunter real quick, to Dustin's point, like, if a lot of people feel he's already more accomplished as a corner, so he has less to learn, if you will, as a corner. So the fact that he would spend maybe 3/4 of his time on offense would probably make sense.
Agreed.
2 more. Will Plavin says, Bull, what's your opinion on Will Wilson getting the call-up?
It's a cool story for those who don't know. So Will Wilson got called up yesterday when who went on the injured list?
Lane Thomas.
Oh, yeah, right, Lane Thomas. This guy was a first-round pick of was it the Giants? I can't remember. He was a first-round pick in Major League Baseball a number of years ago. I don't even remember what year it was. And he had been in the minors. He had never gone anywhere. He had been a bust. And
he was an Angels first-round pick in 19.
Okay, so all right, 6 years ago. And, first-round pick, and he was a bust. And the Angels moved on from him. And the Guardians signed him this offseason to a minor league contract. He had been not even that good in the minors. And he killed it in spring training where he almost made the team out of spring training. And then he started the season in Columbus, and he was killing it there. So it's a cool story. Guy was a first-round pick, a lot of hype. Then he bombs out after 6 years, and now he gets to make his Major League debut, which is really cool. Good for him.
It's an awesome story.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was his backstory, but it's a great story.
Yeah.
Last super chat comes from James Mace Jr., who says, Dustin.
Yes.
Can the Browns become a legitimate Super Bowl contender in 5 years?
Of course. I mean, look across the league. I would say, it's the Browns. We all live here. We understand how difficult it has been for them to win.
Right.
But, I mean, nobody thought, a few years ago that the Philadelphia Eagles would become this, like, kind of a dynasty. No one thought the Chiefs would become what they have become. The Patriots were dog shit for the 80s and 90s and became a dynasty. So, like, it can happen
all the time.
In 5 years. Of course, they can win a Super Bowl.
I mean, the Bills were far from a Super Bowl contender before they got Josh Allen.
Correct.
The Bengals were far further from a Super Bowl contender before they got Burrow. The Ravens were good before Lamar Jackson, but he's obviously continued them being really good because he's good. It's that simple. If the Browns can get a quarterback, they can be a Super Bowl contender. If they don't, they won't. I mean, it's pretty simple. Is that the last one?
That was the last one. We have Aditi Kinkhabwala coming on the show tomorrow from Green Bay. She is at the draft.
Okay, and she's a Kenny Pickett apologist. She loves Kenny Pickett.
Well, we're going to ask her about Kenny Pickett and what she thinks the Browns should and will do. We have a live show tomorrow night. So normal show tomorrow, 11 to 1. Then at 8, we're going to hop back on, preview what's going to happen at number 2, react to it live on air. We're calling for at least, I said 5, but you want 7? Earl wants 10?
I'm expecting at least 7,500 live views.
Live, at once.
I'm only working tomorrow if someone's bringing pizza.
Are we bringing? Who's bringing food?
Who's bringing the food?
I think somebody's bringing canes, right?
No, that did not end up happening.
Oh, it didn't work out?
So we'll figure out.
We got to have some food here.
All right, Becker, get on it.
Steve, get Steve on that. Come on, we got it.
I'm glad I put him on blast.
Hey, we need some more of that jerk chicken.
Well done. That's well done.
Thank you.
And if we're going to get pizza, we got to be,
talk to Bull.
Picky about where we get it from.
Real quick, I have 20 seconds. So live show Thursday night. We're back in Friday morning. Live show Friday night after rounds 2 and 3. Saturday we have a live Cavs postgame show and then another live day 3 draft wrap-up show. So more UCSS than you could possibly find.
And I will have a live postgame show on my podcast tonight, so join me for that. We'll see you in overtime.
Catch the Ultimate 216 show if you didn't watch it already.
Peace.